and is only suitable for people aged 18 or over, will almost certainly have an adult theme, and might well contain sex or violence, which are quite graphic. It may also contain explicit language, including sexual swear words. Thanks for listening.
On tonight's episode of the Godless Rebelution,
we'll talk about the end of ideology. Will Ferrell debate Bill? I highly doubt it.
That's a good one.
Dear Seitan Bruggenkate. Divorced, dumpy, deluded, discriminatory, dumbass Davis defies directions, doubling duty dereliction, dangerous, draconian demagogy, death cult dominionism. That was hard.
That's a lot of D's.
That's some fucking alliterism right there, man.
Ching Chang, Walla Walla, Jeb Bush. Second, Timothy Tebow, still not as good as an injured Holy Romo Empire. Boogity, 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 Blood Moon.
But here's what his revelation comes to him. He's kind of got all this stuff like, touching, wiping, mourning of the animals.
Not wiping, whipping.
Yeah. Also not touching.
I am dyslexic. I hope I'm not having like a stroke.
Do it live! Fuck it! Do it live!
And an atheist almost always becomes supporters of eugenics and abortion.
A swine is hungry for nuts. Jesus hates them too.
Satan is real.
Being a Satanist is an open declaration of revolt against counterproductive received wisdom and mindless rogue tradition.
Decapitate her head off.
We're done. You're done.
Obama!
Hi, everybody. I don't know what the hand signals are, but
I think twiddling the fingers worked then.
Do something!
Except for when you still looked at me like, what are we?
I wasn't entirely sure that the twiddling of the fingers meant that we were recording.
Definitely. So,
welcome to the Godless.
I spoke up.
Welcome
What, Mushmouth join us for this episode?
Welcome to the Godless Rebelution, everybody. I'm Dan Ellis.
It's another Ryan-less episode.
Yes.
Sorry.
Missed the Duffster.
That's like
Sorry, I'm not here,
with
guys.
our marathon debate shit last week. That's like 25 hours without Ryan.
I know. It's like one dogma debate episode without Ryan.
Today is September 23rd. This is episode number 70. We are joined in studio once again by the fabulous Xopher Reed.
Hi, everybody.
Utah Outcasts podcast.
Thank you. Podhell.com. Come check us out.
Tonight's episode is fueled by...
Tonight's episode
is fueled by some spiced rum and Coke. Vanilla Coke.
Welcome to tonight's episode.
We're going to have a really good time. We're going to fire up the bubble machine and sit back and whoop-a-doo.
Oh, we'll be awesome. Okay.
Why do you think America is a Christian nation?
That was the creator of everything.
Judeo-Christian belief to be the foundation of our lives.
And I believe God isn't done with America.
And that's the Lord we know.
All right, proceed.
Politics. So, this is an article written by, what?
Nothing.
He's just staring at me with his cup in his hand. It was
Dad just gave him that come hither look.
What's going on over there?
It would be awesome.
How you doing?
Okay, John T. Jost of New York University. He War! Okay, let's start over. Okay.
Hey, Forrest.
Okay. John T. Jost of New York University has written an article. Actually, this came out in the 90s, but it's called The End of Ideology. I'm just going to dig into it because there's like 20 pages of this. I actually went through to kind of.
This is what you were talking about last week that we didn't get to on the show.
Yes.
During the fucking marathon.
Yeah. It's a meta study, that encompasses, I don't know, 30 or 40 years of polling and various other studies, about political views. So I'll just start right into it.
Okay.
The end of ideology was declared by social scientists in the aftermath of World War II. They argued that A, ordinary citizens' political attitudes lack the kind of stability, consistency, and constraint that ideology requires. B, ideological constructs such as liberalism and conservatism lack motivational potency and behavioral significance. C, there are no major differences in content or substance between liberal and conservative points of view. And D, there are few important differences in physiological processes or styles that underlie liberal versus conservative orientations.
Are these all propositions, or this is what the study has found?
This was the original study called The End of Ideology that came out just after World War II.
Okay.
So it's called The End of Ideology, stating there's really no difference between liberals and conservatives at this point. There's no reason to.
So this is back then. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing things are different now.
This is before McCarthyism, right. Before the rise of the Soviet Union.
Right. So John T. Jost revived that article and rewrote his article, calling it The End of Ideology.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So that's the introduction. Now this will be Jost from now on. These are just some of the key points. Current political realities. Excuse me. The stunning organizational success of the conservative movement is one of the most significant events in American political history over the last 25 years or so. Mm-hmm. But it would stretch credulity beyond bounds to claim that it has been a revolt of the moderates. There are many factors that help to explain how conservatives once inspired. What the fuck was that?
I'm moving, just swinging the boom, yo.
Okay.
Just King Arthur delivering wooden rabbits there.
I thought X was squeaking. Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I farted.
I'm so
I fucked. Sorry, I fucked.
But it would stretch credulity beyond bounds to claim that it's been a revolt of the moderates. There are many factors that help to explain how conservatives, once inspired by fringe activists such as William Buckley, Milton Friedman, and Barry Goldwater, managed to reach what Brooks referred to as the promised land of mainstream governance. These include the mass defection of white Southerners from the Democratic to the Republican Party following liberal civil rights legislation in the 60s and 70s, the development of the strong coalition involving economic conservatives and religious fundamentalists beginning in the 70s, and the powerful emergence of right-wing think tanks and media conglomerates, including Fox News and Christian conservative talk radio networks. There are now scores of extraordinarily popular conservative radio and television personalities, including Limbaugh, O'Reilly, Coulter, Hannity, Scarborough, and Savage, to name just a few. And their popularity is hardly attributable to the moderation, reasonableness, or prudence that Schill saw in their predecessors. The ordinary, mild-mannered author Garrison Keillor,
who I like very much.
Yeah, I do too, detailed some of the changes vividly, saying, "Something has gone seriously haywire with the Republican Party. Once it was the party of pragmatic Main Street businessmen in steel-rimmed spectacles who decried profligacy and waste, were devoted to their communities, and supported the sort of prosperity that raises all ships. The party of Lincoln and Liberty was transmogrified into the party of hairy-backed swamp developers and corporate shills, faith-based economists, fundamentalist bullies with Bibles, Christians of convenience, freelance racists, misanthropic frat boys, shrieking midgets of AM radio, tax cheats, and nihilists in golf pants."
That's a perfect description of that's an all-encompassing Republican description right there.
Yeah, it's
that's the big tent right there.
Hairy-backed swamp developers. I like that.
I think we can blame the God virus for that.
Yeah. Jost goes on for a few more paragraphs, but the empirical evidence is that studies show that there are substantial differences in the beliefs and values of liberals and conservatives. The largest and most consistent differences concern core issues of resistance to change and attitudes towards equality. For example, people who call themselves conservatives hold significantly more favorable attitudes than liberals toward traditional cultural and family values, including religious forms of morality. They are also more likely to support conventional authority figures and to oppose activists who are seeking to change the status quo especially if change is toward greater egalitarianism.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
No qualms with that. People who identify themselves as liberals place a higher priority on achieving social and economic equality through policies such as welfare, social security, and affirmative action. They are also significantly less likely to hold prejudicial attitudes and at a conscious or unconscious level toward racial minorities, homosexuals, women, and members of other disadvantaged groups.
Mm-hmm. This all is just confirming the biases I have.
Right, but this is a meta study.
Yeah,
that goes beyond your personal preferences to say that yes, in fact, you are correct.
Nice. I like when I'm right. It doesn't happen a whole lot.
There is now, well, if you were a conservative reading this, though, you might feel differently.
Well, for all of the slurs that he threw out about
so that was Garrison Keillor, but
yeah,
Jost just included that as part of the differences now and reason why to revive and revise the end of ideology.
Yeah,
but
the problems that I have with the Republican Party are plentiful. The one that bothers me the most is the contradictory nature of a lot of their views. You know, they say, and this happens with libertarians all the time, or the Tea Party libertarians like fucking Rand Paul. You know, he's all about freedom and liberty as long as you're not gay or a woman.
Right. Yeah.
You know, if you're gay, you can't enjoy the same rights as everybody else as far as it goes. As far as it goes for marriage equality or anything like that. If you're a woman, you don't have the right to choose what you do with your own body. You know, things that, you know, in a purely libertarian view would be beyond reproach. You know, those things are off the table. You can't say that you're all about freedom and liberty and then deny those freedoms to a set of people.
Yeah.
That's what poisoned that idea.
I totally agree. I think those minute differences that they claim, you know, within conservatism are completely non-existent, because, you know, what you have in conservatism is everybody's free to have all the rights they want as long as they're me. and they all say that. I mean, well, if you're a white Christian, straight, rich, business owning man, sure, you do whatever the fuck you want. If you're anybody else, jail.
Well, and I think that attitude is starting to tear the conservatives and the Republican Party apart from inside. They're eating themselves alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you just look at who's left in the GOP, I mean, they don't have hardly any Hispanics. They have hardly any black people in there. I mean, when it comes to minorities, or, you know, in our case, they've become the majority in the country, they've just pushed themselves further and further away from that voting bloc.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't like women. They don't like anybody that's not white. They don't like anybody that's young.
Yeah.
They don't like, and so they've antied themselves into fucking oblivion.
They other everybody.
Yep.
And they've othered everybody to the point of irrelevance.
And it shouldn't shock me, but it really fucking shocks me that they're talking about, well, we don't know why we're not going to get that many voters. You know, we hope we're going to get some people. And it's like, okay, after what's his nuts lost the last election with Romney, lost the election, like, why did he lose it?
Mr. Mom Jeans.
Well, let's see, because he said some anti-women shit, and because he was against immigrants, you know. You know, he didn't get the Mexican vote.
And he was so fucking rich and completely out of touch with ordinary people.
And instead of, you know, taking their licks and be like, wow, we need to start focusing on this group of people because they are the ones that hedged us out last time. They're fucking double downing on this shit with fucking Trump,
done that
you know?
every time.
And they had that whole post-mortem study of what do we need to do to change the party and appeal to more people.
Mm-hmm. And they haven't done it.
And they went through and they listed all of these things like we need to stop being fucking dicks.
We need to get the Hispanic vote.
Until the next election rolls around, and then we're going to be fucking dicks again and not learn our lesson.
Our right-wing fucking base of crazy religious white guys is just...
No, they steered into the crazy skid.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they came out with, okay, well, we need the Hispanic vote. Fucking build a wall, make the Mexicans slaves, and then send their asses
then deport them home, yeah.
Dude, that is not exactly courting the Hispanic vote.
I don't know why they're not voting for us. I really don't.
I really don't get it.
Just adding...
I tip them very, very well when I'm at the country club.
Right. And adding 2 pseudo-Cubans to your ticket doesn't fucking count.
Yeah, remind people that Ted's real name is Raffaello, and it blows their fucking minds.
Is it Raffaello?
Yeah, it's his dad's name. He's a junior or a third. I can't remember.
Raffaello.
Raffaello.
Really?
Yeah.
Raffaello Cruz.
You killed my father.
Hey. My name's Raffaello Cruz, eh?
Well,
Wait,
I can't stand to hear that guy talk.
Either talk through your nose or plug in.
Yeah.
My name is Ted Cruz.
He should have been
I like Jesus.
He should have been a soap opera star, that guy, the way he fucking mauls the camera.
Yeah, he does chew the fucking scenery every time he's on the camera.
I think he should be on a reboot of The Munsters as Grandpa Munster.
Yes. Yeah. He'd be good for that. Okay. There is now sufficient evidence to conclude that conservatives are, on average, more rigid and closed-minded than liberals.
No.
My colleagues and I published a meta-analysis that identified several psychological variables that predicted, to varying degrees, adherence to politically conservative versus liberal opinions. The original studies, which were conducted over a 44-year period that included the end of ideology era, made use of 88 research samples involving 22,818 individual cases and were carried out over 12 countries. So this is a very large
sample size.
study.
Yeah,
it's a lot of people's.
He lists the countries.
How many different countries did you say? Was it 20?
A lot.
12 different countries.
12 different countries. 22,000 people.
Yeah. So this is a big study.
That's a couple of PhD students right there.
Yeah. A clear tendency for conservatives to score higher on measures of dogmatism, intolerance of ambiguity, which I thought was very interesting.
It's got to be black or white. There is no nuance.
Yes. Needs for order, structure, and closure to be lower in openness and experience and integrative complexity than moderates and liberals. Several studies demonstrate that in a variety of perceptual and aesthetic domains, conservatism is associated with preferences for relatively simple, unambiguous, and familiar stimuli, whether they're paintings, poems, or songs. There are other psychological differences between liberals and conservatives as well. Conservatives are, on average, more likely than liberals to perceive the world as a dangerous place. And
fear, war,
fire bad.
Yeah.
And to fear crime, terrorism, and death. That is interesting to me.
Is it?
You
didn't know?
No, not that I didn't know, but that they fear death, which I think
probably why they're
probably
so
points to a lot of their religiosity.
Religious ties. Yeah.
That's fucking interesting.
I don't have to fear death anymore because my imaginary friend says everything will be okay.
Right. And because God is the answer for everything, it ties right into their need for order.
Yep.
And black and white thinking.
Yep.
They're also more likely to make purely internal attributions for the cause of others' behaviors and to engage in moral condemnation of others, especially in sexual domains. Noted not long ago, conservatives tend to hold more prejudicial attitudes than liberals toward members of deviant or stigmatized groups, at least in part because of chronically elevated levels of threat and rigidity. These are physiological tests.
It's like telling a Republican that there is a thing called the Kinsey scale, and you can actually land more than just zero.
No, you're either gay or you're not. You suck dick or you don't suck dick.
Or you break it. What about authoritarianism on the left? Are extremists on the left and the right equally likely to be closed-minded? Some studies, especially those comparing multiple political parties in Europe, allow researchers to pit the linear rigidity of the right hypothesis against the quadratic extremity hypothesis that increasing ideological extremity in either direction, left or right, should be associated with increased dogmatism and rigidity.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
The existing data provide very consistent support for the rigidity of the right hypothesis and no support for the extremity hypothesis in isolation, and some support for the notion that both linear and quadratic effects are present in combination. In summary, then, much evidence upholds rigidity of the right hypothesis, and contradicts persistent claims that liberals and conservatives are equally rigid and dogmatic.
That argument fucking bothers me a lot when I hear it.
Well, this just confirms the fact that they're the same. That they're just not the same on the extremes.
Yeah, he said in that last paragraph with the quadratic thing and the linearness of it doesn't work.
The fact is that the extremists on the right are far more rigid in every single test they did than the quote extremists on the left.
Mm-hmm.
The extremists on the left still were much more open-minded and less rigid.
Because as much as we may hate the food babe,
if she says something intelligent, I'll listen.
Yeah, I mean, she might be right 1 time out of 10.
Yeah, I would love to see some great evidence from her of a lot of the bullshit claims that she makes.
And Jenny McCarthy, yeah, she's wrong about autism and vaccinations and everything, but she's probably right on social issues.
And she's really funny in a lot of things.
I used to love her on Loveline.
She's smart and funny, except for a lot of these areas where she's really fucking dumb about things. The vaccine thing in particular. My kid got a
vaccine. He has autism. No, he always had autism, lady.
I still am kind of flabbergasted with finding out last week during the debate that Trump is anti-vax.
Well, he took quite a fucking hit. Right? I mean, he's down like 9% or something like that as of last check.
Well, I think we called that at the end of the debate. I mean, we said that Carly Fiorina would get a jump, and she has. We said that Trump would probably slip a little bit, and he has.
Mm-hmm. Carson maintained maybe a little bit, but
yeah, I'll have to go back and listen. I think I said that Paul might. Oh gosh, I can't remember. Did I say Paul would go up?
I think Paul has gone up a little bit.
We all thought Walker was done for.
Jeb is maintained. We all thought Walker was done for.
Cruz, we thought was going to get a little bit of a bump, but I haven't seen it yet.
Did we? Did we say that?
Well, because he talked a lot, And, he was pandering really fucking hard. So was Huckabee, though. Huckabee was pandering towards the...
Fuck Huckabee.
Yeah.
He's so off the fucking wall that I don't even think...
Who was it? Ann Coulter's even eating him alive now.
Well, and we predicted that...
Like, who? Well, are you fucking running for Prime Minister of Israel or something?
No shit.
Well, and we predicted that Pataki would slip, and he's gone off a cliff. Yeah.
Which is too bad.
He's just way too reasonable.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
We found ourselves going, oh, wait. It's Republicans.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, I just wanted to make sure I gave credit. If anyone wants to actually look this article, article that I read from, I only read bits and pieces. This is, so 20-some page essay written by John T. Jost of New York University. It's called The End of Ideology. And he's one of those cool guys that puts his PDF on the internet for free. You can go on there and check it out, print it off, read it. If I was totally wrong, let me know, but I read it word for word, so I'm not, so fuck you.
Something else that bothered me this week was I got in another argument about GMOs.
Oh, yeah. I saw that coming up. I saw that post coming up.
Yeah.
Who? I made one response.
It was in the group.
Right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I read that.
I responded, I think, one time to it.
Yeah.
And it just...
Basically, your response was like, everything is a fucking GMO.
Yeah. Yes.
What O has not been GM'd?
Yeah, every O is a GM. Yeah. So, how are you going to label it? How are you going to decide, whether it's been affected by natural or artificial selection pressures, for labeling purposes or whatever? Come on.
Yeah. And then the one person in that thread who kept making inane comments ended up leaving the group, and I feel kind of bad that she left the group because I thought we had a fairly decent discussion going on, but at the same time I thought, I guess that means I win.
Obviously not a skeptic.
Because I was asking questions, right? I was just like, she made a bunch of really dumb comments like, I don't give my kid processed foods and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, what does that even mean?
Food,
what is a processed food? And she said anything that's packaged or boxed. And I'm like, how the fuck do they ship organic foods?
Yeah.
The same person was like, I can't feed my kid anything non-organic foods, because, Roundup did it to my kid. And it's like, no.
That's not how that works.
Just tell her to go use the all organic scoop at Whole Foods and get on her way to Burning Man.
And these were the same people that were citing Food Inc. as one of their Monsanto for the soybeans and everything.
Or meat or whatever.
You should watch Food Inc. That's where I got all of my information.
Yeah, guess
that's
what?
your big fucking problem
guess
right
what?
there.
Fucking seen it.
Yeah.
Seen it.
Yeah.
And you're still fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And so are all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it showed up in a movie, so it's got to be true.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it on the internet. I saw it on a screen somewhere.
I saw it on a screen that used the internet.
way too many people who are not skeptical, or they think. I don't know. It's this weird twisted thing where they think they're being skeptical because they're not trusting the scientific community. Like,
I just hate the fucking anti-science. I really just hate it. Like, okay, I may come out and say some stuff that might be completely off the fucking handle, but people can research it. They can say stuff and they can be like, look, you're wrong. And I'll listen to their evidence and I'll change my mind.
Yeah.
Because that's the scientific method.
If you can give me some good evidence for why you believe the way you do, fuck, I would love to see it. But I don't want to be wrong.
Like when people start citing, one of my favorite sites is Mercola. And that
Mercola or Natural News.
Quack doctors like saying that, you need to eat more kale.
It's a wonder food.
It's just like every other fucking green vegetable out there.
It's a miracle diet. That's all bullshit.
You know what I'm going to start saying?
Huh?
I'm just going to start telling those people like, unless you cook your beef with jet fuel, it's not going to fucking up. I'm all set my source, loose change. It's a real movie.
But it can't melt steel beams.
Fucking saw it. It's getting ridiculous.
You need to make sure you make your grill out of steel because it can't melt it.
Yeah, fucking GMO truthers, man.
We were just talking about fucking anti-science people. I can't fucking stand anti-science. The people that are like, oh, the world has only been here for 5,000 years, and I'm saying so on this fucking internet, that was created by science, by knowing how things work. Right. And I'm going to go, and if I get sick, I'm going to go to that big old science building.
Yeah, that science center, yep.
Oh,
and I'm going to use stuff that's created from germ knowledge that comes from the evolutionary theory.
Yep. That was another one of the arguments that apparently stung a family member fairly recently. I was talking to you, Matt, ahead of the show about some things going on around in my life lately. And there was a family member who recently got sick, who's very, very LDS, and went to the doctor and got
Please tell me doTERRA.
Got some treatment for the issues they were having. We're chatting around the dinner table and I made the comment of, oh, well, and I was being honest and curious at the time. And I said, oh, well, did they call the elders to get a blessing? Mm-hmm. And the answer was no. And I said, well, why not? That seems to fly in the face of everything they believe. I mean, if this person, this is like the faith that they've staked and believed, they've staked their life on and they've believed their entire life and is such a valuable and important part of their life. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't they do the one thing that they've learned their entire life is going to help them probably more than anything else? Why didn't they do that? Mm-hmm. And I said, that's what, and then I followed that with, it kills me because when people do things like that, they make it really clear that they don't believe as much as they say they do.
Yep. And I have a great thing that I'm going to read later about that exact thing.
Okay.
If I ever find myself in a hospital, come and pour milk on me since you're a card-carrying member.
Yes.
Satan.
Yes. But
Satanic temple.
I was going to say, I wish Ryan was here because I would ask him when he ever goes out on a life and death call and puts a guy on a stretcher, do they ever say, hurry and take me to the church? Or do the EMTs ever say, hurry and get this guy? No, they fucking don't.
Yeah.
Of course they don't. Never has that ever happened.
Take me to the science building.
Well, okay, so maybe that's happened, but in the few cases it has happened, they fucking died.
Yeah. Or the EMT goes, you're fucking crazy. We're taking you to the hospital.
You put this oxygen mask on and go
shut the fuck up.
Just relax. Just relax.
We're here. We're going to take care of you. Yeah. You'll be fine.
Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous. I know. You find out exactly how much they actually do believe. They believe real strong when everything's going well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's just fine. It fucking drives me nuts.
Yeah. So that was another bit of the drama.
I got a bunch of newses.
Yeah.
This might be a news heavy show. Well, it's going to be a news heavy show.
What's first on tap?
What did you guys think about Ben Carson saying that?
We'll hit Chris's.
Do you have that? Sorry.
Fucking.
That's okay.
No, it just came up this week and it just fucking floored me. I mean, he's been in the news.
I'm not surprised at all, dude. I don't know why anyone's. I didn't even get that story because of course he fucking thinks that.
And the only reason I bring it up is because it got brought up at work the other day, where we're not supposed to be talking about this kind of stuff, but we still do because none of us can be fired for it,
Right.
And so they were talking about how, I agree with Ben Carson and how he says that no president should be Muslim because, Sharia, and they say Sharia law, but Sharia actually means law. So
the law.
Yeah, it's like saying ATM machine or PIN number.
Right. Or for your FYI.
Yeah. Fucking hell. And so Ben Carson's like, no president
I
should.
actually saw a sign on a card the other day that said, $8,000 or your OBO.
Or best OBO. So anyway, Ben Carson saying that,
I don't want to give you an oboe for that card, dude.
Be like,
anyway, Carson.
So Carson doesn't think that any president,
Please respond to my RSVP.
Shouldn't be any president who's Muslim. No Muslim should be president because they follow Sharia ahead of the U.S. Constitution because the two are not you're not able to work the two at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me bring up history to these people. I'm like, do you remember Kennedy running for office? You're old enough. You remember this, don't you? Like how they said, oh, he's a Catholic. He'd be beholden to the Pope and to the Catholic Church. We can't have a Catholic as president. And they didn't like that one. And then I started talking about the whole Abrahamic religions and everything and how, the big problem is that the Muslim religion hasn't been around nearly as long as the Christians or the Jews, that they don't have that little bit of period of, dark ages where they've had a chance to finally fucking cool down,
Yeah, they're in the dark ages now.
Yeah, it's happening a lot quicker than we'd expect it to because, they're not ruling the whole fucking world right now, the whole civilized world.
Well, Christians didn't either. They ruled Europe.
Yeah.
But they had nothing to say over the Chinese.
Mm-hmm. China. What? Fucking, sorry, Trump. Anytime he says the word China, just go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
China.
Yeah.
And then Ben Carson talking to a whole bunch of his people. Then I say his people, I mean the Seventh-day Adventists.
You people.
You people.
I wouldn't even have picked up on that until you corrected yourself. I'm like neurosurgeon.
Thank you. About how he was talking about the Big Bang. The Big Bang Theory is false because second law of thermodynamics.
God.
And he started talking about I think it's called the blind watchmaker fallacy.
I'm going to throw out all of the worst fucking arguments that I can think of.
And so he talked about how and all the other things that happen over time and over the universe, how ours went from a system of nothing to a system of order, which is going to a system of disorder, because entropy is true.
Closed system.
But he was also talking about how, if a tornado managed to go through a junkyard, in our case of our universe,
make a car.
It made a completely formed Boeing 747 fully functional.
Jesus Christ.
These are all like the worst.
Yeah, they're the fucking,
all the worst Christian apologetics that everybody, without any kind of understanding of anything goes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and I'm
listening to this.
There. He read enough to be a neurosurgeon, and then one other thing, and it was that Watchtower pamphlet.
This is the type of arguments that Hitchens, when he was on with, was it O'Reilly or was it fucking Hannity, where he's like, yes, I've read your book. Have you read anything else?
Oh no, yeah. Was that Hitchens?
Well, and the funny thing is,
that was Dillahunt.
You can
said that to one of his callers.
Oh no, well Hitchens actually said you sound like a person who's never heard.
Yeah, he said that to
any
Hannity.
argument. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but you sound like somebody who's never read an argument for the opposing side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Hitchens to Hannity.
You can actually listen to Ben Carson have a debate. I think he went against Richard Dawkins at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could find one out there where he
Dawkins isn't the best debater, but still.
Yeah, still, but he fucking decimates him in a debate. And it's just like this guy, you're trying to be an apologetic Christian for something that,
I'm trying to remember which podcast I was listening to recently where they were talking about Ben Carson on stage, and they said if you look at him, it was fucking Skeptocrat, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember it was Heath or Noah, but they're talking about, or maybe it was Eli, they're talking about how if you watch Carson on stage, he looks like a blind man feeling boobies for the first time. Like he closes his eyes and puts his hands out in front of him and makes these vague little gestures with his fingers like he's touching boobies for the very first time ever. And I thought that was perfect.
Like areolas or braille.
Like I could picture Ben Carson in my mind as they're describing him doing this.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I don't see how I don't think he's going to be a front runner because fuck, we have 16 months until the till it's finally decided. And he's like second right now behind Trump. So I think Trump will eventually fall out. And I sincerely hope that he goes for an independent slot. I hope he tries to just fuck with people.
Trump?
That'll just hand it over.
That's totally his personality.
Yeah.
Totally his. It'll be terrific.
I could win because I have so many supporters all over.
He was on Stephen Colbert's.
Yeah.
Colbert. He was on the Tonight Show or whatever the fuck he has. Whatever late show that is nowadays.
Is it Tonight Show?
No. That's Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon. Whoever.
Fallon's the Tonight Show, right?
The Late Show? Is that what it is? Or
fuck, I don't know.
Whoever Dave used to be.
It's the Late Show. It's the Late Show.
Yeah. So Letterman. He had him on there the other night, and he even has audio of this, of him lobbing him a softball. Like the biggest soft meatball you possibly could throw the guy. So President Obama, is he an American? Lobbed. And then Trump doesn't answer. He beats around the bush and starts talking about veterans and, you know, how they're treated worse than illegal immigrants in this country. And
using his fourth grade language.
Man, it sounded fucking terrible. It sounded like an army manual on how to do things. It was bad. It's just terrible.
I saw that the young rapper musical guest that they had on that same show decided to make a little statement against Trump and got a Mexican soccer jersey and had Trump emblazoned on the back with a big X out. And
I'd wear a Mexican soccer jersey. They got bimbo bread down
turned
there.
around to the crowd when he came out on stage like nobody knew it was going to happen. Colbert didn't know. Nobody. And it was kind of funny and good.
I can't bring myself to watch like shows like that, like Tonight Show or Jimmy Kimmel or anything like that. I can't watch late night talk shows. I just don't get it. I never have.
And
I really like Jimmy Fallon.
I like Fallon a lot too, but I don't watch his show. Like I
watch
watch
him in clips. Yeah, on YouTube.
Yes.
I watch clips that people post on people post on the lines.
They fucked all over the place.
They're so awesome.
Well,
we're going for the Norwegian.
And I said it before.
Right
I said it before. I think Ben Carson is the stupidest person on stage at the Republican debates. He really is just dumb. He's a great neurosurgeon, and that's about it.
Really hard, though.
I think he's completely sincere with the shit that he says too. That's the worst part about it.
But the problem is, I think they all are.
I don't think,
and they're all morons.
I think a lot of it is pandering. Like
from who? You think Ted Cruz is bullshitting everybody?
I think Cruz I think for a lot of things, I think he means a lot of things. I think he also panders a lot. I think Christie fucking definitely panders.
I think Christie and Trump are the biggest panderers.
Yes.
I think Trump just says whatever the fuck he needs to.
Yeah.
And
that's just
those other guys, like Rubio,
they know and they're pandering.
And Cruz and Huckabee, those guys, and Walker, those guys are fucking morons.
And I think Paul is smart, but he's a bigot. But I think
because you
Ben
can't be
Carson,
a libertarian and a Republican at the same time.
Yeah, Ben Carson is just
when you can in today's society, but real true libertarianism wouldn't be.
He is willfully ignorant of so many things. Like so many things that he should, at his age in life,
I think Carson is
and station should know so much better than the things that he believes.
I think he's the most socially unintelligent.
Yeah.
I think his presence, his ability to, project his voice, to sound confident. The very first thing you ever learn in marketing, is, or being an attorney or something like that. It's not about what you know. It's how you say,
how you present it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you say something that sounds like, I'm not too sure about this. If you're
say it with conviction, and you'll convince more people than
this is the reason why scientists are really bad at getting what's true.
At communicating, right.
The whole global warming issue was a fucking nightmare when they first came out because scientists say exactly what's true in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And so the public who doesn't know anything about that goes, well, I don't know. He didn't sound like he really knew. And then you get a politician.
He sounded like he didn't really know for sure. He was hemming and hawing and
he said mean things.
Yeah. And you get a politician
saying,
or a
according
lawyer,
to our current understanding, and this seems to indicate, and
right.
He's equivocating much.
But I'm sure that somebody in the room knows much more than I do about this. Yeah. But you get a politician or a lawyer out there that's like, this is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do it now. We're going to do it strong. We're going to do it, and they sound that convicted about it. All of a sudden, that sounds more right. People are more willing to follow that. That's just marketing 101.
Yeah.
And Ben Carson has none of that understanding.
No.
Trump has a lot of that.
Trump is all about the marketing.
Right. That's what he is.
Yeah.
And what I don't understand about Trump is that if you're a person that has, X amount of billions of dollars, why the fuck would you want to be a president? Why would you want the responsibility?
Power. He wants more money.
It's power.
You don't make shit as president,
So that was another argument that I got in on Facebook recently with somebody who said that they agree with a lot of Trump's views and everything, and you can tell that he's sincere. You can tell he's sincere and that he's going to be for the people because he's not accepting money from anybody else because he's just spending his own money, and it's like so. He's the guy who has said repeatedly that he's used his money to buy politicians to get what he wants and to get more money. Mm-hmm. And you think that when he becomes the politician in charge of everything, that he will not abuse that power to get what he wants and get more money? Yeah, you're fucking stupid.
He's buying the presidency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's basically running for a position in which he can buy himself more money.
Mm-hmm. Do we want this guy to be able to give pardons?
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
We thought Bush was bad with that. Fucking hell. Could you imagine Trump pardoning everybody?
How many times has he said, I give him a lot of money and he does what I say. Mm-hmm. It gets the job done. And now I want to be the guy in charge of all of that.
Mm-hmm. And you have to think about, if he is a businessman, he has to realize that he's investing money into something that he expects a
return on,
Right.
I just thought of that. Fucking people are stupid thinking about this guy. God damn it. I mean, it was dumb to think about voting him before, but after thinking like that, fucking.
Yeah, he's not spending his own money because
he has an altruistic view of being.
Yeah, of course, dude. You don't get to be a billionaire if you're altruistic.
No, you have to fucking piss off a lot of people to get to billions
and step on a lot of people.
I mean, look at Bill Gates. As much as I may admire the guy, he's fucking pissed off and screwed a lot of people out of money.
But how much money has Bill given away versus Trump?
Yeah, I agree to that. He's one of those people that did sign the whole deathbed promise that he would sign away most of his fortune. Yeah. And the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is at least doing fucking something like preventing malaria and shit. They're the ones that are coming out with a pill form of like malaria vaccine. Mm-hmm. That's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he didn't do it because Jeebus.
Yeah. Not just building more casinos somewhere to get more money.
Right.
And then going bankrupt 3 or 4 times.
To get more money that he could never fucking spend.
Yeah.
Anyway.
America's most trusted newsman, Bully O'Reilly.
No, he's not the most trusted. I don't think he is. I think you're teasing us, you leg puller.
Challenges Will Ferrell to a debate.
I can win against a comedian for sure. For sure.
Bill O'Reilly wants to debate Will Ferrell over the actor's Bernie Sanders endorsement.
I think Will Ferrell would tear him to fucking ribbons.
Yeah.
I think even a comedian would beat the shit out of Bill O'Reilly.
We're talking tide comes in, tide goes out
match.
Yeah, Papa Bear. I don't know. On his show,
Ferrell's he's very quick-witted.
He's very quick-witted. Yeah. Fuck. Most of the shit that you see of him in movies,
it's all impromptu.
It's like ad-lib.
Yeah.
The Fox News personality asserted earlier this week on Fox and Friends that the comedic star is among the celebrities praising the Democratic presidential candidate without knowing anything about him.
The arrogance of people saying shit like that. God damn it.
Papa Bear says, quote, "I will debate you anytime, you pinhead. You come on in here for 15 minutes, me and you, okay? About Bernie or politics in general, or about your films. I'm ready to go."
So him talking about being at the Falkland Islands and everything, like in the middle of the combat and shit like that. No, you weren't there. You weren't there when that dude committed suicide. You weren't there for a lot of this shit. Tide goes in, tide goes out. How do you explain that? You can't.
Do you watch Blunt Talk? Have you been watching that at all? It's really funny. It's with
does it involve weed?
Yes. Well, it's Patrick Stewart, and
I should be watching this.
It's Patrick Stewart, and it's produced by Seth MacFarlane. I mean, it's really fucking funny.
How would you like to be Seth MacFarlane? Just like call up Patrick Stewart any fucking time you want.
Oh yeah.
Can you call me number one?
So Patrick, I've got this show I'm thinking about doing. You think you might be interested?
Funded Cosmos. I might as well fund a show about weed politics.
I like MacFarlane a lot. I think he's very funny.
I enjoy the guy.
He's brilliant. I mean, he's making money hand over fist by doing awesome things. But He's made some shitty movies, but I still giggled at a large portion of the stupid jokes in there. But Blunt Talk is really good. You guys should check it out.
Sweet plug.
Anyway.
Bring an endorsement.
Later on Tuesday night's episode of The O'Reilly Factor, the conservative TV host expanded on the issue with Farrell, but admitted he shouldn't have attacked the actor in the manner he did. He said, quote, "I shouldn't have called out Will Ferrell, but I'm getting a little fed up with these people," he said.
What do you mean by these people?
You want to support Bernie, knock yourself out. Does he know what Bernie stands for? Does he know what Bernie wants? And I submit to you, he doesn't. Yet he would still like to challenge the actor to a debate if Farrell were up to it. Quote, "I've had enough, but we're sincere, Will. If you'd like to come on the program and sit here, just you and me," O'Reilly said.
As if O'Reilly would let him get a fucking word in edgewise.
Yeah, of course.
I can't stand watching interviews with that asshole. Him and Hannity both don't let anybody say a fucking word the whole time. They talk over him. They cut him off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's browbeating. Will Ferrell, who can currently be seen on HBO in his baseball documentary special, Ferrell Takes the Field, has yet to respond to the comment.
I would love to see a response of just, fuck you.
Yeah, I bet he won't even dignify it.
I want to see some Funny or Die shit about that. That'd be great.
Hell, he was recently on an episode of Drunk History that was pretty good.
And we talked to him and Eric earlier, but
Yeah.
watch $1 Billion Movie. Best fucking role that Will Ferrell's done in a long time. God, I love that shit. You guys want to watch Top Gun again?
No. Not at all.
Though they end up watching it like 4 times in the scene. It's fucking hilarious. That was a good movie. Yeah, the music's really nice. You want to watch it again? Okay.
Should I do some more reading?
Yeah,
Yes.
Just
go for it.
do news the rest of the night?
Sure.
Okay.
We're going to fucking throw rants in there every now and then. It's just kind of...
Oh, yeah.
It happens, man.
I know.
That's why I listen to you guys.
I just meant, it's a lot of me reading. But this is my weekly pride and joy, this one right here.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, this is the one that you were so proud of when
This
you
is
were
one I'm proud of, yes.
Oh. So I'm very excited.
This is like a 20-page short
it's a thesis. Come on.
thesis about, yeah. Yes, it is. Just wait. I promise, Dan, you'll love it.
Okay.
Stephen Mason of Acadia University. And I've spent the week, well, better part of the week, going through the 20 pages of said thesis and condensing it into
What is the thesis about?
a syllogism that I think is clear and easy to understand. If you'd like to actually go through the entire argument yourself, this also is available online. Stephen Mason.
Stephen Mason. How is the last name spelled?
Maitzen.
Syllogism sounds like a great drunk word.
Yes.
Syllogism?
So,
Look at my syllogism all over my hands.
I should have used the condom.
Look how silly it is. It's my syllogism.
noise.
Oh, come on. I thought that was
No,
funny.
it was good. I was
It's my
drinking,
syllogism.
I was
Be
drinking-
grog,
drinking
that
beer.
lowbrow. Now, I'm just a caveman lawyer, but I think
Syllogism.
I may not understand your great flying machines and television looky boxes. But even I could see that joke was a bit lowbrow. And I'm one to talk, since I am a caveman lawyer with a big brow. Fucking Phil Hartman, I miss that guy.
All right.
Women, am I right?
That was Matt clapping.
What? What's happening?
Nothing.
Phil Hartman. Anyway.
Yeah.
Syllogism.
Yes. I call this,
Sorry. Moving on.
I call this XFAP.
XFAP.
No, wait. I call this Dear Cy-10 Bruggenkate.
Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah.
Because mainly I found out his shit was just bullshit and
Yes.
a fun little shell game that he was playing.
Yeah, you'll see why that it's called that. But this
Yeah.
also takes care of Bill Craig and Ray Comfort as well.
Will you name Craig?
Billy.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll shut up.
So, I'll start here. Theism will say there's an existent God with perfect knowledge, power, and goodness. Fair enough?
Yep.
Is that fair for theism?
Theism?
Uh-huh.
We'll say that there's a perfect God.
There's an existent God with perfect knowledge, power, and goodness.
Sure.
Okay. Somewhere in the world, a child is suffering in a way that is unwanted and undeserved.
Happens all the time.
Yep. Okay.
It's happening right now.
Mm-hmm. If God exists, he knows about the suffering, possesses the power to prevent it, and yet allows the child to suffer for some unknown reason, at least from our perspective.
It's God's will.
If God allows the suffering
Testing everybody.
We'll cover that. If God allows the suffering for any reason other than that the child will benefit from it, then he's not acting perfectly. In other words, the benefit must be for the suffering child. It can't be for the parents to learn from, etc.
And it must outweigh the suffering.
Right, because, if the parents are going to learn from it or whatever, then that's indirect link to the suffering. So mildly stated, there's something less than perfect about letting a child suffer terribly for the primary benefit of someone else, as with the child abuser who gets to exercise his unchecked free will.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Sure.
Key premise is that that is God's exploiting the child, and exploitation is always wrong. If there remains doubt about the previously stated premise, ask yourself if you would allow the child to suffer in order to procure one of those benefits, respecting others' free will, or etc.
I can't say that I would do so. I'm trying to think of a situation where exploitation would not be wrong.
Dolomite, coffee. That's blaxploitation. Sorry.
I'll provide you a couple of objections where exploitation would be correct.
Okay.
Quarantine or triage. Wartime triage, focusing of medical supplies on those we know that can be helped for the maximum good.
Okay.
But we're only justified in doing that because we're limited in our power, knowledge, and resources. God has no such limitations and thus has no excuse for the exploitation.
Very good point.
Yep.
The second possible objection would be delayed compensation. What if God ensures that the child will have a great life later or an exquisite afterlife? No. Compensation is not the same thing as justification. Paying reparations for murder doesn't make the murder right in the first place.
Right.
Except in the Old Testament.
So God will still be guilty of allowing the suffering, even though he intended to pay the victim later. There must be a necessary relationship between the suffering and the greater good, and the layaway bliss plan fails to bridge that gap.
Because you could just give them the money without the suffering.
Sure.
Good point.
So a problem for God, then, is that children all over the world are experiencing undeserved involuntary suffering in staggering amounts. What does secular morality tell us about this? Well, it compels us to act compassionately toward these children. We have a duty to prevent their suffering, at least so far as we can do something without increasing suffering in ourselves or others. What does theistic morality say? Well, we've already established that God can't permit suffering unless it's for the child's optimal benefit. So what happens to the moral duty to prevent the suffering? On the theist view, it completely disappears.
Mm-hmm.
To prevent that child's suffering under theism is to deprive the child of the divinely sanctioned net benefit. To the theist, they would be doing the child a disservice by interrupting their suffering, essentially destroying the future benefits that God had in place for them. So,
and contravening God's will.
That too, yes. So it appears that theism can't be squared with one of the most obvious of moral truths, the clear duty to help suffering innocent children. If theism fails to account for this duty, it seems very difficult to see how it could account for the vast majority or even all basic moral duties. Bill Craig. Clearly, though, theists do help alleviate suffering in others. So their actions imply that they haven't thought about the implications of their worldview. It could be suggested, and I will, that this is a type of atheistic presuppositionalism. Theists really know that God doesn't exist. Their actions clearly demonstrate this, and they're borrowing from the atheist worldview.
And they explain it away as God sent me here to do it.
I like that.
Yeah. Even if the argument is wrong and theism can't reconcile God's existence with our duty to prevent at least some suffering, theism still encourages a bizarre reverse triage. The worse an innocent person's suffering, the more reason theism gives us for thinking that the suffering must be necessary for the sufferer's own good.
There's gotta be a reason that stuff is going so fucking sideways for me right now.
Right.
There's this walking moment for
God has a giant plan for me.
So
I need more cowbell.
So that gives the theist even less reason to intervene to prevent the suffering. So we ought to prevent mild suffering first and extreme suffering later. So far from shoring up our moral outlook, adding God to it turns it completely upside down.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That's nice.
Yeah. I like the presuppositional atheism. I think it's such an interesting tact.
They all know God doesn't really exist.
Right. And because they act in that way. And, I was thinking I should have actually supplemented this more, but I only thought of this today. Anybody who cries or grieves over the death of a loved one is also presupposing atheism.
Yeah, that
never makes sense. If you're a theist, you're going to see them forever. What the fuck are you worried about?
Yeah, that has never made sense to me when my religious family members get so upset by the death of somebody.
Yeah, it's presuppositional atheism.
They're partying with J-Rock right now. Why are you so upset about this? And you're going to see them again. And this mortal life is just a blink of an eye in the grand scheme of the timescale of it. Fucking eternity spent with Jesus.
That's why my time is a theist.
Why are you crying? Why are you upset? And if you're suffering at all, why aren't you out killing yourself other than that your religious belief has taught you that if you do that, then you've just bought yourself a ticket straight to hell. Like, if death is the answer because you get to spend eternity with Jesus, isn't that the preferred route?
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I would consider that presuppositional atheism as well. But, I should give a shout out to Reasonable Doubts Podcast for turning me onto that article. The author of that is Stephen Maitson.
Presuppositional atheism.
Z-N. The
have
article,
a lot of fun on YouTube with that.
Yeah. The article itself is called Ordinary Morality Implies Atheism. Again, this is like a 20-page thesis. I've gone through and summarized it into that syllogism you heard. But fantastic.
Syllogism.
That's good to be awesome. Awesomes.
Why is this towel so stiff? It's full of syllogism.
Because my husband, he's been fucking in it all day. That's Scandinavian, sorry.
Bork, bork, bork.
Here we take the fishy and we take the bird bark. Oh, man.
God's authority.
Dan's been trying so nicely. Like the last 10 minutes to drink his drink.
Damn it. Getting to the end of the drink where there's just ice and it's so fucking loud and I'm trying to be all quiet and I was like,
fuck it. Fuck it. I'll just do it when Matt's talking. I'll just wait until.
Sorry, buddy.
Hey, everybody.
It's all good. I've been talking the whole time. God's authority won't issue licenses, but secular authority will put your ass in jail again. Frankfort, Kentucky.
Oh, I was going to promise everybody we wouldn't talk about her.
Do you want to not?
I would prefer not to.
Would you really?
Do you have something else? Or is this, or have you made like a point that hasn't been made 100 times about what a shitty fucking person she is?
Except she's issuing now, like marriage certificates that are printed off by her, not by the state.
Yeah, I mean, there are.
We haven't said her name yet, so
there are developments.
This is like Voldemort.
Shall we not?
If you guys don't want to talk about it, I won't talk about it anymore. Because
I'm
tired of it too. It's just what's going on.
It's big.
We're a topical show.
You're fucking. I'm done with her. Like, we haven't said her name yet, which I'm happy about. And I don't know, if you want to, then you can, and I'll hang my head in shame. No, no, if go ahead.
Let me quickly glance through this and see if there's anything.
Well, we did have an apostle die.
New or interesting.
We did have an apostle die. Yay!
Oh, that's so much more interesting for this country. Yeah.
And I'm gonna fucking dance on that grave.
There's the national.
The quorum of 12 is now down to 9.
Was he one of the 12 also?
Yeah.
Fuck, so they're down to like 1906 levels or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's right. 1906.
Like, when a couple of them like abandoned ship because they wanted polygamy and
they abandoned shit.
Yeah, there was a couple of them that just left.
I didn't mean to shit all over your story. If you want to do that, you can.
It's all good.
You know.
I'm tired of her too, but
I was tired of her 2 weeks ago. Like,
but then again, the problem you have there is that I know as you guys as well as me, we're in the trenches every fucking day looking for this stuff. There's a lot of people that are periphery. They're not in the middle of this kind of thing. You know, that's true. They're not in the middle of the fucking trenches at the front of the war. They're at the backsides of it, catching the headlines and stuff that come their way.
Fuck it, let's do it.
Okay. Should we just avoid saying
let's
her
do
name?
It. No.
Okay.
No. Bring it. Shame her. Shame.
Yeah.
Ding ding.
She's already spent 5 days in jail, and now a Kentucky clerk could be heading back to court soon for altering marriage license forms issued to same-sex couple. That was like one sentence, and I struggled my way through the whole thing.
It's okay. It's the beer talking.
Clearly, I've not had enough to drink yet.
On Monday, lawyers for 2 gay couples and 2 straight couples questioned the validity of the marriage licenses and asked a federal judge to order office to reissue them. If she refuses, the lawyers asked the judge to put the office in receivership and have someone else do it.
Can you do that? Put a government agency into receivership?
I don't know.
Well, she is issuing licenses that are not sanctioned by the state.
Right.
Well, right. But I mean, I thought receivership was something strictly left for corporations or privately owned companies.
I'm not sure. My comment about that was that this option was very accommodating. You know, she's being paid $80,000 a year in public funds to serve the
not
public.
Do her fucking job.
I would push for her to do it personally.
$80,000 of broke ass Kentucky money, which means she's hillbilly rich.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And I can hillbilly shame. Fuck you people. I got it in my family.
Chris is like, I got hillbilly in my blood.
I can break out the southern accent anytime you guys want.
I can't do a southern. I can only do northeast.
Well, me and them, we went down to the old gas station down there, and we got some.
Damn.
Who doggy? It's been a while, but.
Is prepared to return to jail over her beliefs, according to an interview that aired Tuesday morning on Good Morning America. The first she's given since her refusal to issue licenses gained national attention.
Well, it's a good thing she turned down the Oath Keeper's suggestion of having protection.
I'm sure that was her lawyer's suggestion. Yeah.
Well, her attorney doesn't give a shit about her. He doesn't give a shit about what happens to her.
He's in it for the money.
It's a giant fundraiser for them.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that she's wrong. He knows she's on the losing end of everything. He's doing it to raise fucking money for the ACLJ.
Mm-hmm. She went on to say, I've never once spouted a word of hate. I've not been hateful. She also said that licenses going out of her office now, issued by a deputy clerk, don't have her authorization and are not valid in God's eyes.
Well, then go back to jail.
Who gives a fuck if they're valid in God's eyes?
Yeah, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
As if God is the one controlling this government office, handing out pieces of paper with stamps on them.
Yeah.
She's reduced her God to a fucking paper pusher.
And if God was a guy that could actually run government, we wouldn't be shutting it down every couple of years and fucking people out of money.
The all-powerful God who created the universe and everything in it pushes papers. You can get married. Okay.
He does tax returns every season. Kentucky. I work for H&R Block. Blessed be thy name.
Why aren't more Christians fucking offended by that?
Right.
You've reduced the almighty, powerful fucking God to a goddamn fucking clerk.
Omnipresent.
That's fucking hilarious, dude.
Jesus.
Yeah, well, I used to make worlds,
but now I just fill out these fucking IRS Form 941s, and
the world needs ditch diggers too. So
I didn't make enough of those, folk. I should have thought about
that. She stopped issuing all marriage licenses in June after the Supreme Court ruling. Blah blah blah. As an attempt to deny, this is my comment, as an attempt to deny same-sex marriage licenses without appearing overtly discriminatory, she stopped issuing licenses to everyone, which seems pretty damning for the statement that she isn't hateful.
I'm going to take my papers and go home.
Yeah.
If the gays can get married, nobody can.
Right. Her office issued marriage licenses while she was in jail, but the licenses did not include her name. Judge Bunning ruled those licenses were valid and released Davis on the condition that she would not interfere with her employees. Davis, a Democrat somehow, was greeted at
that's
the...
important.
You've said her name twice now. The third time she's going to show up.
First, yeah, well, oh yeah, you got a mirror in here. Carter County Detention Center, she was greeted by a crowd of thousands and a church choir flanked by her attorney and Republican presidential candidate Mike Huckabee.
And they played a song that they're going to get sued for.
Yes.
I think my favorite part of that was the fact that they kept Cruz like out of it. That a Huckabee staffer Cruz on the side.
It's fucking hilarious.
Some tiny little guy standing up to Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz is like,
Sir, there's no way I'm going to let you on the stage.
I want to go over that way. And the guy's like, no, not going to fucking happen. I'm staying right here. But I see where all the people are and the attention and the cameras.
I need to be a fame whore.
That's where I want to go over there. No, not going to let you do it. Well, I'll just try to step around you. No, that's not going to work either.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And then Cruz sulked about it for a couple days. This little Muppet face.
Mike Huckabee wouldn't let me go on stage with him.
Mom.
Me.
So yeah, everyone knows all that. And that the licenses that were issued, she's altered them and replaced it with a stamp that says pursuant to federal court order. Yeah. But on Monday, actual lawyers for the ACLU, not the Liberty Council, wrote, some of these are my words, that the validity of the altered licenses is questionable at best, and the new licenses bring humiliation and stigma to the gay couples who receive them. They asked Judge Bunning to order Davis's office to reissue the licenses. If Davis interferes, the lawyers say Bunning should place her office in a receivership for the purposes of issuing marriage licenses. They say, quote, the adulterated marriage licenses received by couples will effectively feature a stamp of animus against the LGBT community, signaling that in Rowan County, the government's position is that LGBT couples are second-class citizens unworthy of official recognition and authorization of their marriage licenses, but for this court's intervention and order.
It's like hanging a sign on a water fountain that says for coloreds only.
Yep.
Or whites only.
Exactly right. Davis's terrible attorney, who repeatedly advised her to break the law and violate direct court orders.
Because he doesn't give a shit about her.
My words. And slightly worse is the founder of the Liberty Council law firm, my words again, Single T Matt Staver, also my words, did not directly respond. I don't trust a single.
Fuck those single T's.
I don't trust a single T Matt.
No, fuck no. That's the guy who you should just walk up and wipe your feet on.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. Not like the respectable Hebrew Matts like me.
Hey, at least you don't got Christ in your name. God,
you don't go by Matthew.
That's why I go by X.
But my name is Matthew David, which means gift of God, beloved gift of God.
I'm Christopher Michael.
Luckily, my name is close to a biblical name, but it's not because Daniel. It's not Daniel. It's Danny.
Yeah,
like my legal name is Danny.
Nice.
I was thinking it was short for like Danetheth or something.
Daneth.
Oh fuck! I met somebody named Daneth a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
I thought that's a really unfortunate name. I'm sorry.
Daneth. So Single T did not directly respond to the ACLU's request for Bunning to put the office in a receivership. Staver said he would formally respond to the ACLU's motion on Tuesday, but he noted that Democratic Governor Steve Beshear said last week that the altered marriage licenses would be recognized by the state. They would be, right? Kim Davis has made a good faith effort to comply with the court's orders, Staver said.
She's trying real hard, people.
That's exactly what I fucking said. That was my quote. I said, okay, no, she fucking hasn't, but more than that, since when do laws require people to just try real hard? That's exactly what I thought.
I'm doing it. I'm giving it the best I can, Captain.
I was trying really hard not to kill this guy, but fuck, he made me mad.
Oh, well, you're okay then. Yeah, you tried real hard, right?
I tried really hard. I really did.
Yeah, we're good then. Yeah.
Like on the 34th time that I was stabbing him, like
I thought maybe I shouldn't be doing
there
this.
There was a hitch in the downward stroke. Like it took everything in me to, actually do it. And
I think the knife stuck on that last one.
But did you think that you shouldn't? And then you did anyway, but you thought
you
exactly.
should. Exactly. I did. Yeah. That's what happened.
I totally get it. The ACLU's motion to again hold Davis in contempt reveals that their interest is not the license, but rather a marriage license bearing the name of Kim Davis. This is Staver. They want her scalp to hang on the wall as a trophy, he says.
It's because she's the fucking clerk. It's her job. That's what's supposed to fucking happen.
I know. He said that in a bad way, but my response to that was, in a manner of speaking, yes, they do. They do want that. I mean,
she swore a motherfucking oath of office.
Yeah, this is hyperbolically stated, but yeah, Davis needs to be held to her requirements. Absolutely. It's amazing.
Do your fucking job.
It's really amazing how little jail time she's actually done for all her shenanigans and the constant spotlight that's been on her dubious activities. I mean, consider somebody on parole or probation. They violated in one tiny little, it's 30 fucking days.
Yeah.
Bam. Just no questions asked.
Didn't show up for work. Didn't apply for as many jobs as you're supposed to.
Doesn't even matter if you tried
Back to
real
the pokey
hard or
for
not.
you, motherfucker.
Yeah. For 30 days. Easy.
Like my job as an application support person. Like all of a sudden I have a deeply held, sincere religious belief that computers are of the devil.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to do it.
How quickly would they fucking get rid of me?
Yeah, but
I'm going to try really hard to comply with the job that I'm supposed to do.
I'll stand over your shoulder and well, she's not even doing that. She's not even like shoulder surfing somebody and telling them what to do.
I'll allow somebody else to stand over your shoulder and tell you what to do.
No, but not only that, but then you go through your department and you make sure none of them can do their job properly.
Yeah.
And then
none of you should use computers either.
I'm going to stand over your shoulder and tell this guy how to do his job, but then I'm going to sign something that says I don't approve of what he's done.
and then still collect your paycheck.
Yeah.
And then give that the David Smalley sigh.
Yeah. When you're stifled.
I don't have words for this.
Sam Markoshin, a constitutional law professor at the University of Louisville, said such receiverships are, quote, unusual and extraordinary. Generally reserved.
That is unusual and extraordinary.
Now, I'm just maybe a small-time country lawyer.
I believe this here, sir, is extraordinary and unusual.
Is that the bird on Futurama? Do you know what I'm talking about? You ever watch that show?
No, well, yeah, I don't.
That bird lawyer that's like a rooster lawyer, and he's like,
is that on Futurama?
Accent. Yeah.
Isn't that, that's fucking Stephen Colbert. Harvey Lawman or whatever, Birdman, fucking.
Yeah, Futurama has a rooster southern lawyer.
I believe that's Stephen Colbert. I could be wrong, but it's Futurama like Harvey Birdman or Lawman, something. I don't know.
Huh. Anyway.
Kind of talking out of my ass, but it's something Tracy's mentioned a few times. You should watch this. It's funny.
Oh, okay. Unusual and extraordinary, generally reserved for situations where other legal remedies are unable to end an ongoing violation of the law. Okay. Markosian described what the plaintiffs are now requesting is a, quote, limited takeover of her office. The judge could appoint another person to oversee the issuance of marriage licenses, both to ensure that the licenses are issued legally and to protect the deputy clerks who have the difficult choice to defy their boss or defy a judge. I don't see why this is unusual or extraordinary.
To make somebody do their fucking job that they were elected to do?
Yeah. And he also said the worst case scenario is to send her to jail again. I think that's the best case scenario. I don't know, but whatever.
I don't understand why she was let out in the first place. I don't understand why she wasn't sent immediately back when she didn't do her fucking job the way she was supposed to have done it.
Yep.
The whole goddamn time.
Yeah, I think they're afraid of making a martyr.
Yeah.
But she's already a fucking martyr.
I don't understand any of this. She's a fucking wall martyr. She's not even.
The fact her husband showed up to the fucking thing wearing overalls.
Oh,
and straw hat.
Yeah, way to fucking dress up to meet with a prominent politician, you fucking moron. What are you doing, dude?
Like, I don't even own a suit. You just got to fucking rent a polo at that point. You know?
But Jesus Christ, we can't see the straw falling out of your cuffs, dude.
They're hillbilly rich. He can go to fucking Walmart and buy a pair of Dockers and a polo.
Something. Yeah, anything.
Get it off the fucking clearance rack. It's like $4 a piece.
Go to the Goodwill.
Items, you know?
I know, dude. I mean, seriously, if I walked by that guy on Halloween, I'd be like, oh, shit.
Is that what he wears? Is that what he wears to church?
Right. Yeah.
If he showed up on the stage like that, probably.
Yeah.
You know, because the men are always right in those churches. You know.
Oh, yeah.
In her Tuesday interview, she was frequently tearful and said that she's received hate mail with people calling her Hitler and a homophobe. But she says she's
maybe you're wrong.
But she says she's not a hypocrite, despite her own 4 marriages, which I said I have no room for her desires for sympathy at all. As for being a hypocrite, yes, in that sense, you know, in the sense that she's justifying her actions with the same book that condemns her divorces, but not in the sense that her marriages were all of the same heterotype. She's really just partially. She's a hippo.
In her defense,
sure,
she's only recently come to being what she deems a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was a Christian before, but now she's evangelical. Yeah.
Well, she went to apostolic or whatever Christianity. Yeah. So she was only saved, I don't know, whatever.
Well, the video floating around of her saying that, you know, when she's tearing up, saying that people tell me that, like, my God doesn't love me.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, do you realize how fucking crazy you look and sound to most people in the world?
Yeah. She went on to say, I haven't always been a good person. But she said that she has
decided to be a worse person.
Right. But she said that she has been forgiven, that godly authority trumps all, and she won't resign her position. So good. Now she's free to be as big of a bitch as she wants because God made it all okay.
How does she know that she's been forgiven? How does she know that?
Yeah, I don't know.
For the Bible tells me so.
But that's just that she can't know that she's been forgiven. It's what she wants to believe.
Well, of course.
She can't know that shit.
It's that conflation between belief and knowledge.
I've been forgiven. How do you know that? You don't fucking know that.
It's the same no as the 9-year-olds at Mormon church giving their, you know.
It's the same no as the 90-year-olds at the Mormon church use.
Yeah.
I don't care how old you are. You don't fucking know that Joseph Smith was a true prophet.
You're pretending to know something you don't.
He was a guy.
Or you don't understand the difference between believe and knowledge.
Yeah. He's a
belief
guy that
and knowledge.
remotely translated a book using a stone inside of a hat, which is fucking canon.
No, he didn't. He fucking, dude, you know what? Everybody needs to go listen to Naked Mormonism and listen to the episode of Joseph Smith, the plagiarist. Listen to that whole episode.
Man, yeah.
It's fucking brilliant. And you will come away from that and you will go, holy fucking shit, this guy is the biggest fraud on the planet. Probably even, I mean, I hold Joseph Smith in the same regard I do Muhammad because they're both fucking pedophile, pervert, deceptive bastards. But I think Joseph Smith might have been worse because I think honestly, Muhammad probably had a mental problem and Joseph Smith knew what the fuck he was doing.
When I brought it up with my interview when I did the interview with Kerry Jackson.
That was a great interview, by the way.
He
did a really good
and a really good get.
Yeah.
God, he was a good guest.
Yeah.
I want to talk to him again.
Good guest and good get. I mean, that was a really great interview, man.
Yeah,
seriously.
But when we were talking to him about how the thanks guys. But he didn't hear the news item that I brought up to him about how they have a Quran that dates about the same time that Muhammad was born.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me that just brings more credence to the
existed at the time that he was a toddler.
Yeah. And people may think, oh, well, he could have written it right before the end of his days. Like, no, they didn't actually like write the Quran down in his religion until a number of years after his passing.
Right.
And so if there was a book that existed at the same time that he was alive, and books were fucking rare back then. Mm-hmm. Like books were like, if you went to a library, you didn't get to check out books. You know, you got to look at them while you're there. Or if it was this fucking scroll or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that just gives more credence to the whole Joseph Smith thing, where if you look at the Book of Mormon, it borrows from so many fucking like works at the time.
Yeah, not even that many. I mean, a few.
Two that I can think of.
Two at least, but I mean, you make him sound more scholarly than he is.
No,
I mean,
he was a handful fucking con artist, yeah.
But the popular opinion at the time, and there were a multitude of books written on this, was that the American Indians, the Native Americans, were descended from the Jews, that they were Hebrews. Those were books that were circulating around at that time and place that Joseph Smith could have easily gotten his hands on. And in fact, specific copies of some of those books have direct language that can be identified from the original text and to the Book of Mormon that Joseph Smith used that are original, not used anywhere else. Just those two books.
For anybody who may be questioning, I suggest going to Facebook and there's a group called Mormon VIP Lounge. Go put in for them, because if you're a questioning LDS person, this is a great resource for you to go check out. I'm not LDS, never was, but I'm a part of this group because it's fucking fascinating to me. So. No.
There's a lot of really good LDS groups on.
Yeah, I mean, CES letter is good.
Questioning LDS groups. We need to get Bryce on the show. Because I've been wondering as I'm listening to his show, the biggest question that I would have for him is what is the one thing that you would point to throughout all of the shows that you've done, all the research you've done, as being the most damning bit? Like, what is there? Because there's so much, right? Yeah. All of it is such bullshit.
It's a mountain of evidence.
I've wondered what to him is the biggest piece of bullshit.
Yeah. And for
me, smelliest piece of bullshit.
It's that one. And I think if I may be incorrect, but I think it's episode 19, but it's the Joseph Smith, the plagiarist. But that one, because it undercuts the entire fucking church. Everything. And it just confirms what a deceiver, what a liar, what a scammer, what a piece of shit Joseph Smith was. You know, just on every level. I mean, just from top to bottom. I mean, well, he was an illiterate farm boy. That just proves our point. How could he make this up? Well, I'll tell you fucking how. Because he copied it from the Bible and from this other book that was circulating at the time that said that Native Americans were Hebrews.
Yeah, I think
he just fucking wrote it down.
Somebody went through the work of,
and when you've got however many people working with him at the farmhouse to translate this, he's not the only fucking person doing this.
Yeah.
That's the Mormon defense is, well, he was just this young guy who wasn't very learned and whatever. Bullshit. I mean, there were there were these other works around, and he had a fuck ton of help with this.
Yeah.
Well, the argument that you hear all the time where he was either insane, the true prophet, or a con man.
But 1 in 3.
Like, wow, 2 out of 3. How about that?
Yeah. 1 in 3. Yes. Yep. There is no such thing as a prophet, so of course he was 1 in 3.
And that's that typical fucking, and I hate to bring down a whole group of people, but the Mormon excuse of like C.S. Lewis talking about,
Wait, what do you mean bring down a whole group of people?
Well, I mean, the Mormons don't know any better because they're fucking told from the moment of inception of this religion not to question anything that comes to them.
What are we?
Doubt your doubts before you doubt your religion.
What about this show makes you think we're here to fillet Mormons?
No, I mean, we're not, but at the same time, I have a problem at the same time.
I'm puffing up on Chris here a little bit.
You totally broed me in the last episode.
I did. No, it was after show. Yeah, I think I was leaving, and I was like, "Thanks, bro." Aww.
I think I threw it in at the end of the show.
Yeah, because really, what Mormons are fucking listening to this show?
No.
I don't know. I just hate to throw everybody into the same fucking bucket. I hate
the generalizations,
complete generalizations of people. So
yeah,
I just hate it when people have come up to me with the C.S. Lewis excuse. Either Jesus was the true Messiah he was the true Messiah and he was the Son of God, or he was a crazy person.
Yeah,
and
liar, I'm like, lunatic, or Lord.
Gee, which one do you fucking think it was? Because it sounds like you have a belief that that will help you out with. But for me,
right, which is obviously not a true trichotomy. I don't even know what that is. But I mean, there's also what if he could have been legend?
Yeah, it didn't exist at all.
Yeah, which is where I tend to fall.
Yeah, I'm a mythicist for sure.
And he fucking, for all I know, he could have been Luigi. Who knows? I mean, it's a whole bunch of L words he could have possibly been. Liar, lunatic, or Lord. Definitely a lunatic. definitely a liar.
Definitely a liar.
Well, yeah, he's fucking cursing a fig tree at the wrong season of the year.
Well, and
apparently cursed pigs to fly off a cliff.
Yeah,
or some
and
shit.
and he made all kinds of promises about heaven too, which is bullshit. So he's a fucking liar anyway.
And his return.
And he's the son of God, and the return, and that the end of the world within his disciples' lifetime. I mean, yeah, he's obviously a liar. The Bible says that much. You know, but the problem is only atheists are reading it.
There are some Christian people who read it, and they know that us atheists have just misinterpreted things.
Yeah, and they're liars and
out of
lunatics
context.
as well.
You know, context as in the whole book instead of, that chapter that you're reading. Well, if you compare this gospel against the other 3 gospels, you come out with a very, a really strong story about the, historical veracity of Jesus and be like, no, what I get is that it's one person that wrote a story and 3 other people copied it and they just changed a couple of things. You guys can't even get it straight about what Judas did.
Yeah, right.
How's that a fucking gospel?
Well, and Judas brought about Christ being crucified. Why is Judas the bad guy? He helped fulfill prophecy.
Well, what's funny
is that's why they got rid of the Gnostic Gospels, because in the Gnostic Gospel, Judas is the hero for doing that.
He's the one. Yeah, he's the one who brought about Jesus being crucified. He's the one who saved us all through Christ's blood and offering him up as a sacrifice.
Like how the LDS Church praises Eve for her fall, because without that we wouldn't have had these spiritual children brought to earth.
Yeah, but they really don't. I mean,
I've heard one guy.
Yeah,
I've only heard one person say that. Sorry.
Well,
was it Daniel Peterson?
I'm not Mormon, so
fuck Dan Peterson, dude. All right, Chris is going to be out of this one, but NFL Godball news. The Philadelphia newspaper asked,
foosball,
yeah,
sports ball.
The Eagles have stumbled to an 0-2 start this season, and after Sunday's ugly 20-10 loss at home to the Cowboys, every Philly fan thinks they have the solution to the team's woes. Fire Chip Kelly, run DeMarco Murray Moore. The Philadelphia Daily News is thinking big, seeking for the help of a higher power, a much higher power. Assistant editor to the Philadelphia Daily, @David Lee Preston, tweeted, Pope Francis is coming not a moment too soon for the Eagles.
Are you fucking kidding me? Hey, I'm at the Pope. I like the Eagles.
The guy from Argentina.
I'm not so much a big fan of the Cowboys.
I'm with Bill Allred. Anybody that becomes Pope is immediately Italian. And they always get the Guido Sarducci voice,
The paper obviously hopes to the cover of its Monday issue and its plea to the Pope, Dear Francis, our team is clearly in need of divine intervention, reaches him before his stop in Philadelphia later this week. It's not the first time Eagles fans have asked for the Pope Francis's help. In August, fans started a petition asking the Pope to bless the knees of the oft-injured quarterback Sam Bradford. And none of that's worked before.
How shitty is your football team that you have to have God praise you?
Yeah, well, it's fucking the Eagles, man.
Well, this brings me to the story that I had been looking at earlier this week that I posted out to the Godless Rebelution Facebook page. And if only Ryan were here to weigh in, because I thought this was kind of awesome.
Oh, with
Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I didn't grab that story because I have yet another NFL story, and I didn't want to do 3 in one show because I don't think I like football, but
I love football too.
I think a lot of our fans probably aren't so much into the.
I enjoy the game.
Tackle.
I just don't get the my team this, my team that. I enjoy watching it when it's on.
Yeah,
but I'm not a person that has any kind of like.
I've never been
loyalty.
super competitive, because
I mean,
I get it. I get it. I really do.
I was a jockey guy in high school. I did the baseballs.
You rode horses?
I like to play baseball and basketball and football and
he doesn't look like the kind of guy that would be standing out on people's lawns holding a lantern.
I was a sporty guy, and I still like to do some things with limited mobility.
It's hard now. Yeah, but yeah.
Being old as I am and stuff.
Well, I don't play anymore either.
Yeah. You do softball, don't you?
I didn't play at all this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly researching the show.
Well, we appreciate your efforts.
I got an old man running injury. I can't fucking run as much as
good running.
Good running. It's so much fun. Let me tell you.
I have a football injury that...
God damn it, God, why'd you let me get injured?
If I move my knee, you guys can probably hear about it.
Well, thanks.
But this... So Aaron Rodgers apparently...
Yes.
The whole deal was the Packers beat the Seahawks. And, of course, the quarterback for the Seahawks is Russell Wilson.
This goes back to last year.
Who's super Christy.
This goes back to last year when the Seahawks beat the Packers in the NFC Championship to go on to lose to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I don't know why that's relevant, but I thought I'd bring it up. And
I am 12th.
Who's your favorite team again? It's the Jets, right?
Yeah. Or the Dolphins.
When you're a Jet, you're a Jet.
Dude, you know what is fucking hilarious? Let me tell you what's hilarious about that. Okay. Now, I have never seen West Side Story. Okay. But I know what you're doing because anytime anyone tries to fucking do that or tell me about it, they fucking snap their fingers and it drives me nuts. Every time it's West Side Story, it's like, just constantly. Well, what are you fucking doing? Why do you, dude, what
the idea of gang warfare in West Side Story is gang snapping at each other and singing lyrics and dancing and shit.
Oh, you haven't seen West Side Story? I don't even know the song.
I would just dance and sing at you, but I can't thoroughly intimidate you unless I also snap my fingers.
Right? Yeah. Sharks and Jets, right? Yeah. Okay. Fuck that shit.
I lettered in drama in high school. I didn't have a real activity.
Wait, why don't you like football?
I heard about this story, and then I listened to Aaron Rodgers doing his thing, the post-game interview and whatever, and he says, just kind of in passing, this little thing about, I guess God was a Packers fan today.
Mm-hmm.
And so then there's like...
God wearing a cheese head.
So then
yeah.
The foam finger number one.
The Christian NFL world blew the fuck up after Aaron Rodgers said this.
His foam finger has a hole in the middle.
Stigmata.
So they're discussing it all over the place, and I found this little clip. This was played just automatically on the thing after I listened to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And I thought this was kind of funny.
Is that Michael A. Smith?
Yes, it is. Michael Smith.
I like Michael Smith.
Any doubt that he wasn't trying to take a shot at Russell Wilson?
No, not at all. You can see it on his face and the delivery.
He was very proud of himself.
Very deadpan, very sarcastic. Almost had trouble keeping a straight face. I'd have preferred, if I could Monday morning quarterback the quarterback's post-game press conference jokes, I'd have preferred if he'd have gone somewhere like, Nano Bubbles or something.
What? Bubbles?
Yeah, but I just felt like it was unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're
about it. When he was asked about it, he made his feelings clear in the offseason. He doesn't think that God cares about the outcome of football games. He thinks God cares about the people involved, but not the outcome. And that's that. But to go out of your way to take a shot at Russell Wilson and his religious beliefs. See, that's the thing about beliefs. You don't have to believe as Russell Wilson or other Christians believe, because their beliefs do not require you to.
And that fucking bothered me. Why is it okay for Russell Wilson to go out and espouse and spout his beliefs all over the place?
Yep.
But apparently it's not okay for somebody to question those beliefs or even poke a mild, teeny tiny little bit of fun about it.
Yep.
Like, why is that not okay?
Well, we've talked about it before. It's because it's socially unacceptable because people have to give embarrassing answers to try to defend it. And so it's just become hands off on the whole thing socially. So other people recognize that when they align themselves with Russell Wilson and what he said, they immediately form an alliance. And then when somebody else starts to mock that, they're like, no, fuck you, because I don't want to have to try to defend this publicly because it's fucking embarrassing.
Well, and it's offering special deference.
Of course it is.
I would imagine that Michael Smith would say the same thing if an Islamic player had said that Allah was with us during this. I can't imagine that Michael Smith would say, well, that's wrong. I'm sure he would also defend that, but it's still offering religious privilege and special deference to these beliefs when that's stupid.
Yeah, I would be very curious to go back and see what Michael Smith had to say about Abdullah's prayer.
Yeah,
when he had that touchdown.
We know that Allah isn't a real God.
Cleveland?
That's just wrong.
Well, Peter.
And if Aaron Rodgers thinks that it's silly or ridiculous that God somehow favored the Seahawks in the NFC title game.
Of course
they just let it speak for itself because he's probably not alone.
But he was just teaching them a lesson when they lost.
That God was setting him up for success by having him throw 4 interceptions, to let Russell Wilson believe that. To go out and to take a necessary shot at Russell Wilson just seemed out of bounds. I just didn't think it was necessary. You can have a difference of opinion about whether God is influencing the outcome of games, but you don't have to go out of your way to point that out. If you asked, you can say, I don't buy that. But to do it just almost like gratuitously, just like, come on, man.
Okay, so.
To do it gratuitously as in Russell Wilson speaking gratuitously about his religious beliefs.
Right. So.
How dare you use my beliefs to mock me?
Yeah. Do you guys remember the game, in 2012, Seattle versus New England, and the Seahawks won?
Oh, yeah.
And Richard Sherman went out of his way to follow Tom Brady into the tunnel and say, "You mad, bro? You mad, bro?
You mad, bro?"
Okay, do you remember that? So, what if after the Super Bowl, when the Patriots beat the Seahawks with a rookie interception on the goal line with a play call that, questionable at best, Tom Brady went to the media and said, "You mad, bro?" Would that be out of bounds? Would that be he's referring back to a past game in which the outcome was different. You know what I'm saying? If you take the God situation out of it, is that out of bounds? Do you think there would be outrage? Obviously you and I don't think that Aaron Rodgers' comments were out of bounds either. I think that's totally fine.
I think they were fucking funny.
Yeah, I think they were funny, but
I think he was trying to be funny.
I'm just trying to see, if we can appease the Christians, would that have been an okay comment to say, "You mad, bro," to the Seattle Seahawks after losing a Super Bowl?
Well, and I think Aaron Rodgers said it flippantly. He meant it to be funny.
Of course he did.
He wasn't trying to slam fucking Russell Wilson. As far as I know, Aaron Rodgers is a Christian, right? He's talked about being a Christian before.
Well,
it's not like he
already has said that, God doesn't care about football, but he cares about the players. So that's an admission that God's aware of people and exists.
Yeah.
So,
and has an opinion on fucking NFL
and
football.
has an opinion on football. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not as if Aaron Rodgers was saying, God doesn't exist or whatever. He was trying to be flippant and funny. And there's this outrage about, you can't tease somebody about their religious beliefs.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to remove that.
Bullshit. Like, why do we never see, well, we did actually, was it last year or the year before, a player at the end of a game say, we lost, but we came out here, we played a really good game. I think everybody put in 110%, but God just wasn't on our side today, so we lost. Like, you don't see anybody blame a loss on God, but whenever they win, if you're a Christian like Russell Wilson, it's God was on our side and God wanted us to win today.
Well, even if you lose, even in the Super Bowl, Russell Wilson was saying stuff. I knew I shouldn't have thrown that last ball, but God was testing me. He was showing me how to get better and how to, dude.
You can explain anything if you have an imaginary friend whose dialogue you can make up on the fucking spot.
Yeah,
shit. Every one of my kids is blame shit on an imaginary friend.
And the funny thing is, existent parents don't buy it for a fucking second.
Nope.
But the whole rest of everybody else is like, oh yeah. You're gonna learn so much. You're gonna be real great.
God's testing you. You're gonna be such a better person after this.
If God exists and allows these kinds of things to happen all the time that we hear about, child rape and molestation and murder and, even if it's not children, but grown-ass adults doing this shit to each other, he's an abusive fucking parent. Like, we're all parents.
Yeah.
Would you allow would you just set your kid in a room full of fucking sharp objects and hot things and say, well, good luck.
I hope everything comes out okay for you.
And if you injure yourself, that's just me teaching you a fucking lesson.
Yeah. So a large part of establishing the first premise of the argument that I was reading was a hypothetical situation about, a toddler poolside with a parent present, if the child wants to play near the edge of the pool, is the parent responsible for knowing more and understanding the implications? Do they intervene? Do they try to stop the child? Or do they let the child plummet and drown and then just, look at their other children and go, well, see what happens? I mean,
it was part of God's plan. Has that ever been a viable defense
and what other,
in neglect?
Yeah. And what other parent in that situation would say, yeah, totally the kid's fault. You're fucking right.
Yeah.
No, dude, I mean,
it was God's will. It happened. So clearly it was God's will.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It not only abusive.
Had it not been God's will, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
He loves you.
It's not only abusive. It's like the worst kind of parent you could, I mean, it's Ariel Castro kind of parenting.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he loves you so much. He just wants the best for you in this world.
Right.
But he's going to let them children just get raped all over the place because that's teaching them a good lesson.
I heard that shit from my grandmother when she sent me a Facebook friend request.
What, that she was going to let you get raped?
And I replied back when I saw a request and I said, Grandma, I've mentioned it on the show. I said, Grandma, you sent me this request and I can accept it if you really, really want to, but I need you to know that we agree on a lot of things. There are some things that we definitely do not agree on. One of them being religion. And that's one of the main things that I talk about on Facebook. And, I can accept your friend request if you really, really want me to, but
realize that I've got a platform.
I'm an atheist and you're going to see some stuff that you won't like at all. And she replied back with, well, I just know our Heavenly Father loves you so much and he wishes that you'd come back and do this and that. And I'm like, that's such fucking horseshit.
The amount of intellectual dishonesty you'd have to go through to come back.
Yeah. How much would I have to lie to myself about the things that I know now or try to set them aside in order to go back and believe in that stupid fucking religion? That's fucking Mormonism is akin to Scientology in its abject bullshitness.
No amount of frog eye salad or Kahlua pig would bring me back to the fold.
Or funeral potatoes or carrot-laden Jell-O salad. Like it just won't fucking happen. There's no way that I can choose to believe that a perfect God would reveal his word to a 14-year-old kid in the middle of the United States who God wanted this kid to translate God's word and provide it to everybody else and restore his perfect church. And so he gave him this book of golden plates that he needed to translate because he couldn't give it to him in fucking English.
Well,
that's beyond God's fucking capacity in the first place, right? He has to put it in some unknown language that nobody has heard of before or since for this kid to fucking translate on these gold plates that then are taken away so that he has absolutely no evidence to provide as far as, no, this really fucking happened. God really wanted me to give this to you people because he wants to restore his church here on earth and bring everybody to him. And then he took away the evidence so that you can all fuck off and do whatever you're going to do. Like, that's such fucking horseshit. How can they not see that?
And then we're going to revise this book numerous times after it's been published the first time, even though we say that it is inerrant that God gave every single word to him perfectly translated.
As long as it's translated perfectly, you're talking about your first fucking prophet who talked to God and was given these special fucking plates, and then you're changing the things that he gave and that he wrote down, or that he fucking quote unquote translated from in the 19th century into 17th century English for plates that fucking magically disappeared when God wanted to bring all of us to him and give us this evidence of his love, and then fucking took the evidence away. What kind of stupid shit is that? How fucking convenient that the evidence just goes away.
But he just loves you so much, and he wishes you would just come back to the church.
Or that you can translate you can quote unquote translate a part of the book, and then have Martin Harris's wife take that part that you've translated and hide it from you, and then go, oh.
No, Heavenly Father's pissed at me now. Oh,
damn it.
I can't translate that book again.
There's no way that I could completely replicate that word for word again.
Because how
am I going to handle this? Oh, God's really mad at you. He said that I can't, there's no way that's just gone now. That's lost. You fucked it up.
I'm going to paraphrase it in the next book. I'm not going
to be able to translate that again.
That book of Lehi, I'm just going to paraphrase it in the next book. We're just going to kind of get at the main topics of that.
It's such horseshit.
I know.
It's
How can anybody
obvious to anybody who just take a step outside your religious beliefs that you've been indoctrinated with your entire life?
That's the key.
Just take a step back. Take a step back and examine it critically for fucking half a second. It doesn't take that much.
Yeah.
It's like you've taken an entire truckload of horse shit and then wrapped it with an entire warehouse of horse shit around it and said, yeah, that's clearly the truth. That's gotta be real.
A guy that lives in your neck of the woods, his name is Howard Taylor. He's a guy that makes a webcomic called Schlock Mercenary. Some of the best sci-fi webcomic I've ever read in my whole life. Guy had no artistic talent when he started it. Fucking phenomenal talent now, like 10 years down the road. Is a very, very devout Mormon. And I want to get an interview with the guy and be like, how can you be this, like...
Can you explain this to me?
This edgy, amazing sci-fi kind of stuff and still believe that, you know, he got a papyrus and turned it into a whole fucking book of Abraham.
It's because that's what he wants to believe.
And magic underwear and just...
I would guess that it's not even what he actually believes, it's what he wants to believe. And there's so many people who are led around by this desire to have this belief in this afterlife and this perfect existence after all of the things that they have to go through here. It's what they want to believe. It's not what they actually believe.
Which makes me wonder is a lot of it the whole godhood after death aspect of it? You know, like I get to be the...
I think that's secondary. I really do. I think maybe for some people that's a driver, but I think it's secondary. I think they just want to live in paradise after here.
My brother-in-law,
like life sucks.
I think
life fucking sucks
afraid of
sometimes.
dying.
Yeah,
I think they're afraid of dying, and
that's my dad's motivation for going back to church.
Yeah, that's what the motivation is. We talked about that. We hit on that earlier.
But my fear.
My dad almost died and has decided that he's going to go to fucking church every Sunday.
Yeah,
now.
of course. You look at statistics for church attendance around the country.
Yeah.
On September 10th, 2001.
Oh yeah.
Versus September 12th.
World's coming to an end. Better get right with God.
Yeah, there's a major spike in church attendance because fucking fear.
Yeah.
But that's what the churches have thrived on for centuries.
As an atheist, like if I had that near-death experience, I haven't had one in a long time, thank goodness. But if I had something like that...
Did you have a near-death?
Yeah, I had a extended hospital stay when I moved to Utah.
Oh, you mean like you had a situation where you almost died?
Oh, yeah.
Not an NDE.
No, it wasn't NDE.
You went out of your body.
Well, it was like it was more of a feverish dream than anything else. Like where I attributed it to my brain malfunctioning because of high fever kind of thing. But at the time, it was like
you got the microphone move lean in from that.
In the dream, in the experience that I had, it was some dude meeting me in a parking lot somewhere saying, "Hey, hop in." And I'm like, no, dude, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready.
You got gangster God.
Yeah, no, he's like threw me the
come on, bitches, I got 20s on this.
But apparently, according to my parents, I nearly died that night from having a pneumatic fever. Like I was at like 105 or something like that, like some really bad fucking fever that my dad attributed to me being a pussy, and I just needed to walk it off like 2 days before. You know, I really lambast my dad as being a dick, but you know, he's a decent guy.
Yeah.
I have to say that or he beats me. But you know,
like
anyway, I didn't have, that's when I was still a theist at the time. But now that I'm an atheist, and if I had some sort of experience like that, I'd be like, whoa, fuck, I need to like check off everything on my checklist that I can. Yeah. I need to write books or some shit to like leave something for me to prove that I existed at one point.
Yeah, you would be traveling the globe with a checklist being like, is your God like Huggy Bear?
You'd be working your ass off to make the world better for everybody else, right? Instead of, I need to stockpile food and weapons.
Which is, I mean, kind of selfishly, one of the reasons I do podcasting is because, like, look, I could eventually download all this stuff and be like, hey, kids, look, this was your dad, you know?
Right.
Like, man, what dad was a dick? He sounds drunk all the time.
I can't say I haven't thought that before.
Yeah. I want something to outlive me. That's all I want.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I mean, even if it's only a couple of years, that's fine. Just as long as, like, when I'm dead, people are still going, that ex guy was all right. You know?
Speaking of Chinese Jesus,
were we?
Segway!
I gotta send a shout out to the Nonprofits podcast for reminding us about this gem from over a decade ago. After more than an hour of solemn ceremony naming Representative Marco Rubio, Republican of West Miami, as the 2007-2008 House Speaker, Governor Jeb Bush stepped to the podium in the House chamber and told a short story about unleashing Chang, his mystical warrior friend.
What the fuck?
Here are Bush's words spoken before hundreds of lawmakers and politicians. Quote, Chang is a mystical warrior. Chang is somebody who believes in conservative principles, believes in entrepreneurial capitalism, believes in moral values that underpin a free society. I rely on Chang. With great regularity in my public life, he's been by my side, and sometimes I let him down. But Chang, this mystical warrior, has never let me down.
Mystical.
Bush then unsheathed a golden sword and gave it to Rubio as a gift. Yeah. Quote, I'm going to bestow to you the sword of a great conservative warrior, he said, as the crowd roared. The crowd, however, could be excused for not understanding Bush's enigmatic foray into the realm of Eastern mysticism.
Why Chang? Your name is fucking Jeb. I mean,
to which I said, but whether it's Jesus, Allah, or Chang, it doesn't belong in politics any more than Casper or Beetlejuice.
Just makes me think that's almost like near one of the most offensive things like a white dude could say something.
I know.
Going completely off barrel here only because I always tend to try to piss people off. That's like calling your mystic warrior Ching Chong or something like that, or
You missed the but yes, that's exactly right. It is just like that. Except in this.
Hurrah! And it's like,
I am mystical warrior. Hans Bricks, fuck you, Hans Bricks.
I'm so ornery. That's so fucking offensive. And that's cultural appropriation too. It's like you are a white Republican old dude with a lot of money.
Yeah.
You don't have any fucking barriers in this country that's holding you down,
Yeah.
Why you need to appropriate a mystical Chinese warrior with a golden sword?
Do you want number 2?
In a 1989 Washington Post article on the politics of tennis, former President George H.W. Bush was quoted as threatening to unleash Chang as a means of intimidating other players. The saying was apparently quite popular with Governor Bush's father and referred to a legendary warrior named Chang who was called upon to settle political disputes in Chinese dynasties of yore. The phrase has evolved under Jeb Bush's use to mean the need to fix conflicts or disagreements over an issue. Faced with a stalemate, the governor apparently, quote, unleashes Chang as a rhetorical device, signaling it's time to stop arguing and start agreeing, which seems to have worked, seeing how agreeable Boehner's GOP Congress has been. Those were my words.
I bet you Bush unleashed Chang in Japan when he had that flu. He was at the prime minister dinner in Japan.
Right.
I'm sorry, I got some Chang on you.
I just changed all over the sushi. That's a damn shame.
What is this we're eating? PF Chang's? Yeah. Now to international news. Dallas, Texas.
Okay, KSL.
Or anywhere in Texas. Tony Romo of the Cowboys looks on from the sideline in the fourth quarter against the Philadelphia Eagles on September 20th. Romo suffered a broken collarbone in the third quarter. Now maybe Dallas will be forced to see what every other NFL fan does and start looking for a quarterback that can win late in the year. But that's an aside. Sunday's injury to Tony Romo put the Cowboys in the undesirable predicament of having to entrust their playoff chances to the arm of backup quarterback Brandon Weeden. Okay.
I love his movies.
Yeah. Again, Romo can't do that either. So that led to an unhealthy social media debate over possible Weeden alternatives, and inevitably, one free agent quarterback with a Texas-sized following in particular was posited by the masses.
Not Tebow.
And Texas Governor Greg Abbott among them.
Not Tebow.
At Greg Abbott _TX tweeted, bittersweet victory for the Cowboys. Win game, but lose Tony Romo. Maybe Dallas will sign Tim Tebow.
Oh, I said not Tebow.
Yeah. Amazingly, Governor Abbott shows his ability to identify the only available guy who's definitely worse than Tony Romo.
Tom Tebow.
Also, this is presumably because of Tebow's gaudy Christianity.
Well, no shit. I mean, if Tebow was a better fucking quarterback than their backup, why wouldn't Tebow be the fucking backup?
Tebow, of course, was among the final preseason cuts by Chip Kelly and the Eagles, who the Cowboys beat 20-10 on Sunday. The Heisman-winning NFL journeyman actually fared pretty well.
He's a journeyman.
Yeah.
He's a journeyman quarterback. Yeah. I'll just go from team to team, wherever they need me.
Actually fared pretty well in training camp and was considered a surprise release in some regards. And in all actuality, he probably isn't much worse than Whedon.
Except he comes with a lot of fucking baggage.
Yeah. I actually like Whedon's talent, but that's...
Yeah.
But Whedon is at least familiar with the offense, and much to the chagrin of Cowboys fans, most likely will be the starter until Romo returns at minimum 6 weeks from now. So Romo will be back out of sync with timing issues, just in time to take over during the part of the year which he struggles the most. See you next year, Cowboys.
Yay, the Cowboys are out.
Yeah, they're out. Besides, Tebow has taken up his old broadcasting post with ESPN and the SEC network, but that didn't stop such people as Abbott dreaming about Jerry Jones and Tebow in one building.
Were they naked?
Yes, they were naked,
greased up.
Obviously, signing Tebow was, I think, this is me speaking now. Obviously, I think Tebow was, meant. Signing him was rather tongue-in-cheek, but even if the idea wasn't serious, I think he betrays his real reason for being a Tebow fan, which frankly is anyone's reason. He's an obnoxious public godbotherer. Oh, and the right god, too. So that ought to save the Cowboys season, right? I mean, it's worked wonders for Tebow's career. Seriously, how much groveling does the god need before he's actually willing to help out? Seems to me the evidence suggests that one can pray too much. Dallas has
God's like, God, it's Tebow again. Just tell him I'm busy. I'm in a meeting.
If Monty Python taught me anything, God hates groveling.
Right.
Stop groveling. Stop groveling.
Stop it. Dallas has since traded.
We're averting our gaze, Osiah.
Stop it. Traded for Matt Castle. Always the voice of skeptical reason, John Hagee is afraid.
I talked about him last episode.
That a rare astronomical event set to take place this week, could herald the end of days, according to some who have been following the blood moon phenomenon.
Is it Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Yeah, how rare? How rare, you ask? Well,
on the Christian day.
I bothered to look it up. It happened 5 times last century, and it's scheduled to happen 8 times this century. That's how rare it is.
You know, it just happens to coincide with the Jewish New Year.
Yeah. The frequency seems to me to be wholly irrelevant as well.
You know, because what day of the year is not a fucking Jewish holiday?
Right. The internet is awash with forecasts from cataclysmic
Start again.
The internet is awash with forecasts from cataclysmic catastrophes to the rapture. As a 4th lunar eclipse in 2 years, the series is known as a tetrad. Will fall on the first night of the Jewish holiday of Suck It, taking place on September 28th.
Fall on the first night of Suck It.
It's Sukkah, but it looks like Suck It.
Hagee was the guy that caused me to fucking almost kill myself from coughing because the way he pronounced nuclear. It was
nuclear.
It was real bad.
Nuclear.
This nuclear.
Nuclear.
It was like it was drawn out. Nuclear.
Oh, he enunciated.
And I'm just like, oh my god, that grammar killed me.
Some Christians believe the celestial event could mark the start of a disaster based on the passage from the book of Joel. which reads...
The Book of Joel?
Yeah. The sun shall be turned into
He's
darkness.
the piano man.
Yeah. Nice.
And apparently drunk driver a lot.
Yeah, also the Uptown Girl. Joel says, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes. Even some wacky Mormons are falling for this one, as apparently this is one of the correctly translated Bible verses that also happens to fit their 50-gallon drum of freeze-dried funeral potatoes doomsday prep work. I added that last part. Blood moons are full lunar eclipses in which the sun's rays entering the Earth's atmosphere make for a red or blood-like appearance. Whoops, that sounds scientism.
It's called Newtonian physics.
Sounds like scientism. The first three instances of the current tetrad have already occurred on Jewish holidays. April 15th, 2014, which was Passover, and October 8th, 2014, suck it, and April 4th, 2015, again on Passover.
I remember seeing the guy at Comic-Con last year that was protesting this, blowing on a stupid fucking goat horn.
Yeah, right.
That guy's fucking hilarious.
You guys were across the street at the Atheist Convention.
Yeah,
I was at the NerdCon across the street,
We were at a NerdCon, too.
That guy fucking followed us around when we did our mass resignation.
Yeah.
And we're walking around the temple, and he sees all of us,
a crowd.
holding signs about resigning from the LDS church and whatever. And initially he's all excited. He's like, yeah, you guys know that the LDS church is a fraud too, right? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, and then he started looking at everybody's t-shirts and was like, Atheists of Utah and God's not, God is dead and whatever. And he's like, oh, wait.
I've made a horrible mistake.
Hey, God will not be mocked. God will not be mocked. And I'm like, I fucking mock him every day, dude. I'm pretty sure he will, because it fucking happens all the time.
Well, I was in front of the
Where is my horn of Gondor?
Then he starts blowing his fucking horn. God will not be mocked.
I was waiting in front of the Assault Palace when he was doing his big fucking chant and blowing horns and everything like that. There are 4 blood moons in the next year. And I was just like, it's called Newtonian physics, you dipshit. And
so
I know
science,
people that don't mock that guy. He's just doing what he. But fuck that. I'm gonna openly mock somebody like that.
So science predicts these things with fucking perfect accuracy.
Yeah,
that tells us exactly when it will fucking happen. And it's not mentioned in their holy books,
right?
Not mentioned in any of that shit. Science tells us when these things will happen, and they adopt this and go, it's really bad.
Yeah, and
I haven't heard of it from any of my religious teachings. Science has taught me it's going to happen, and it's going to be bad.
Not only does it say when, but it says how and why.
And how often it's happened in the past, how often it will happen in the future.
Right, and religion is just like, if anything's different, it's the end.
I just know it's not the end because we got a Star Wars movie coming out in December.
That's right.
Wishful thinking.
It'd be great if everybody was dead. It'd be a nice open theater, especially in Utah because most Star Wars geeks are LDS.
Rapture would happen tomorrow. Utah would be a better place.
We believe in the Force.
So would the country of Texas. It is interesting, though, that these Jewish myths are so popular in Christianity. And
because we are a Judeo-Christian country.
That's such bullshit. I mean,
the Jews laid the groundwork. We just built on it. Okay, they gave us a good foundation.
Yeah, but it's all the Christians that are chicken littling about this. I mean,
you don't see the Jews going like, ah,
oy vey.
For being such a mensch.
Stop kvetching.
I think I'm verklempt.
What's your guys' hate mail address?
It's turning my schlemiel inside out.
That would be godlessrebelution@gmail.com.
godlessrebelution@gmail.com.
You're welcome.
Hey. We need to get some Sabbath gays as well, eh?
Tradition.
I fucking love that movie. I really do. Like, I sing along to all that shit.
Did I ever share with you the H.P. Lovecraft remake of that?
No.
There's instead of a fiddler on the roof, it's called a Shoggoth on the roof.
Oh.
And there's songs about Cthulhu, and it's all done to the soundtrack of that movie. If I was a deep one. Blah, 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 blah. All day long sitting in my filth. Icky, icky, sticky fish. Man. Fucking hilarious, dude. Google it, people. It's fucking hilarious.
No, don't fucking ever Google anything X tells you to Google.
It's safe. If it's on YouTube, it's safe.
Yeah.
According to popular American evangelical pastor John Hagee, the blood moons are historically linked with a time period that begins with a tragedy and ends with a triumph for the Jewish people.
Fuck you, Christians!
In an interview with the Christian Broadcasting Network, Hagee claimed that in each era, quote, there's a sense in the world that things are changing, and God is trying to communicate with us in a supernatural way. To which I asked, how else can a supernatural being communicate? But more than that, eclipses are completely natural.
It's called the Earth blocking out the moon or vice versa.
Yeah.
That can't happen because the Earth is flat.
Spain's expulsion, he says, of its Jews and discovery of the New World in 1492, the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, and the Six-Day War in 1967 are at least 3 times the blood moon tetrad occurred, according to Hagee. How was Spain's purge of its Jewish population God communicating? Or did you forget you said that?
He hated those filthy Jews.
Yeah. Moving again.
The Nazis had it right, unless I'm talking about how bad the Nazis were.
These footprints, mine, 15 years ago. Hagee narrates the history of the phenomenon and the possible future in his book, which I'm not going to advertise, which has turned into a motion picture in honor of the event. Can't wait. Let me guess. Nick Cage, Kevin Sorbo.
So excited.
I can't wait for the god-awful movies.
Directed by Kirk Cameron.
It'll be a Michael Bay movie for sure. There's going to be tons of effects.
Yeah,
things blowing up.
You can bet this movie will be full of clever subtlety. Nothing heavy-handed.
As he says with a straight face. I fucking love that. That was awesome.
So we've had a couple fans of the show contact us about this. Because there's this woman, Julie Rowe, who's a practicing Mormon who had a near-death experience, though she never really fucking died. Who said that
because it's near-death, Dan.
Oh, right.
It has nothing to do with the brain malfunctioning at that point.
Yeah. She had this quote-unquote near-death experience where she didn't die to have a near-death experience.
I had a dream.
Because she didn't die or come close to it, really. She was in a coma for a little while. But there's a story here in the IB International Business Times. It says the sales of freeze-dried food, flashlights, blankets, and tents have soared in Utah in recent weeks as some Mormons have begun to prepare for the end of the world.
Tents.
The so-called preppers believe the world is ending this month based on biblical prophecies, the Hebrew calendar, an unstable economy, world politics, and astronomical occurrences, the Salt Lake Tribune reported on Sunday. Quote, there is a sense of urgency like something is up.
Who did they quote with this?
A lot of people are mentioning things about September like a financial collapse, said customer service representative Ricardo Aranda at American Forks Thrive Life, which sells mostly freeze-dried food.
No, he doesn't have an agenda at all.
They're so well informed, aren't they?
The Mormon apocalypse believers claim the Jewish high holy days that began this week will trigger a financial crisis because of the Jews, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Based on the United States' wickedness. They predict the full moon September 28th is the next sign the world is ending. Glenn Beck warned us about this.
Yes, he did.
Have your gold.
Yes,
Some of these
have your secret Jew gold around your neck as well.
Some of these speculations stem from Julie Rowe's books, A Greater Tomorrow, My Journey Beyond the Veil, and The Time Is Now.
Oh, God.
Rowe, a Mormon mother of 3, published the books in 2014 to detail a, quote, near-death experience, end quote. Her 2 books have sold more than 20,000 copies each.
Wow, so she's like 100-air.
Yeah.
Officials with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints,
the Mormons,
said they do not endorse the books or their teachings. The late Mormon apostle, yay! Boyd K. Packer said in a 2011 LDS conference that the end was not near and called on young Mormons to plan for long, productive lives. But they're the Church of Latter-day Saints. We're in the Latter Days. How is it not near?
It's because it's been the latter days.
Because it's not profitable to scare people.
God damn it. Quote, "You can look forward to doing it right," Packer said. "Getting married, having a family, seeing your children and grandchildren.
This next line.
Maybe even great-grandchildren."
Maybe. So after you have your grandchildren, world fucking ends.
And how does he know
Zul comes back and decides to bring upon Gozer upon the land.
How does he know they'll be great anyway?
Yeah.
Lots of kids are shitty.
What? I went on just a second. Officials have had to debunk end of days predictions in the past.
Wait.
He fucking puts the hand up.
He totally did that.
Wait for it.
Dude, I've been dealing with interruptions for reading for 2.5 hours. Is that what that was about?
All right,
you couldn't handle my...
No, I'm done. Last month, NASA confirmed the world would not end in September because of an imminent asteroid strike. Quote, "There is no scientific basis, not one shred of evidence, that an asteroid or any other celestial object will impact Earth on those dates," said Paul Chodas. That poor fucker.
Paul Dickus.
Biggest Dickus. Manager of NASA's Near-Earth Object Office at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, said at the time, quote, "If there were any object large enough to do that type of destruction in September, we would have seen something of it by now."
I have a friend, you know.
Centurion, throw him to the ground,
Throw him to the floor, rather roughly. Strike him, Centurion.
Yeah, we've had a couple listeners contact us about this Julie Rowe woman because she's leading a whole lot of Mormon people astray, according to mainline Mormonism, because of her end of days prophecies, which the LDS Church is all the fuck about.
I don't understand why they aren't skeptical of this particular article. I mean, Paul Chodas himself has debunked it. I mean, we could call in Professor Harry Taint, but.
Well, not to self-promote too much here, but we're going to have Richie T. Stedman of the Cultural Hall podcast on the show in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to bring this lady up because I'm going to be like, this is what your religion makes. You know, these kind of people.
She is a product of your religion, sir.
And he specifically said on radio numerous occasions that I know people that have cashed out their 401k in preparation for this.
That's sad.
The Mormon Church,
and your religion chooses not to come out and say,
shit about that. Yeah, they don't fucking care that you do that.
No, you give
almost every fucking house that's built in Utah has the Mormon pantry, right? It's the cold storage under the fucking front porch. That is this concrete walled off room in the basement where Mormons stockpile fucking food.
Hey, I don't have one of those. Hey, all right. Atheist house.
You don't?
I've got a basement, but not like a...
You don't have a cold storage in your house?
Not anywhere in the basement, no.
Weird.
Must be some sort of secular house builder that built my shit.
That's really weird, honestly. Well,
I keep the beer in the basement.
I'm looking at you askance like there's a hidden room in your house somewhere, X.
It might be in the bedroom.
You know what it is?
That's where I keep the sex swing.
Exactly. That's the room that you've set up for the torture and the chaining of people.
Oh, fuck, that's cold.
Almost every house in Utah has this cold storage. It's called the cold storage room or the Mormon pantry where they just fucking stockpile food. For the pending apocalypse. We're in the latter days. Jesus is coming anytime.
I don't agree with the apocalypse thing, but I do think it's a good idea to have some shit.
Yeah, I mean...
we have 3 or 4 cases of water that we keep. And a whole bunch of cans of soup, but it's not like we're not with the 50-gallon barrels of fucking water.
You're not preparing for 4 years of living.
No, we're perhaps thinking that there's going to be some sort of earthquake or some sort of flood that happens.
Utah's way overdue for a big earthquake,
and so it's a good idea to have a 2 or 3 day kit of shit that you're not going to go hungry.
Sure,
before the government gets there or before the Mormon Church decides to spend 1/10 of its tithing on.
I've got a big pantry but a bigger belly, so I can live off myself.
I've got a knife.
A couple weeks.
I've got a knife and fat neighbors. They don't run very fast. So,
thing that sucks. Maybe one of the worst things about being an atheist is that no matter what happens, the theists are going to rub it in your face.
I told you so.
Yep. No matter what, any bad thing, fucking, they're going to, told you. Well, you fucking told
Well,
me.
it's they can justify anything with their imaginary friend.
I know. But the thing is, if there's an afterlife, they're going to be like, I fucking told you. And if there's not, we don't get to do that.
Yeah.
No, I just think it'd be funny. Okay. And this is just purely speculation because not anybody here actually believes in an afterlife. But what there was, and a fucking atheist just saunters into the afterlife and the highest level, be like, ha ha! Where's your God now? Oh, he's over there. And he let me in. I'm dirty as fuck.
Yeah.
He knows what's been going through my mind. If he exists, he knows.
He's watched me spanking it on multiple occasions. Like daily.
Throughout my whole life.
Showed us.
Have we got anything else?
I got one other thing.
All right.
I was sad to hear about this one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yogi Berra.
Oh.
One of baseball's greatest catchers and characters, who as a player was a mainstay of 10 Yankee championship teams and as a manager led both the Yankees and the Mets to the World Series, but who may be more widely known as an ungangly but lovable cultural figure inspiring a cartoon character and issuing a seemingly limitless supply of unwittingly witty epigrams known as Yogiism. Died Tuesday. He was
fucking brilliant too.
He was 90.
Oh.
Berryisms, colloquial expressions that lack logic, are now countless, and many of them are just attributed to Berra, even if he never actually said them, as he so perfectly put it, quote, I never said most of the things I said. In tribute to him, here are some of his best. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. You can observe a lot just by watching. No one goes there nowadays. It's too crowded.
That took a second.
Yeah, that was a slow burner. Baseball's 90% mental and the other half is physical. A nickel ain't worth a dime anymore. Congratulations. I knew the record would stand until it was broken. Slump, I'm not in a slump. I'm just not hitting. The future ain't what it used to be. Pair up in threes. It was impossible to get a conversation going. Everybody was talking too much. I don't know if they were men or women fans running naked across the field. They had bags over their heads. Little League Baseball is a very good thing because it keeps the parents off the streets.
You want to go, bro? You want to go? This is America. Sorry.
Oh, poor Yogi. Poor us for missing him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he actually said it, but my favorite of his was, it ain't over till it's over.
Yeah.
Was that a
don't know.
A Yogiism?
That wasn't, I don't know
if it's directly attributed to him, but it's definitely a Yogiism.
Yeah.
90 years, though.
That's a good life,
good
man.
life.
Yeah.
Died of old age.
A lot of world championships. Played in the 27 Yankees.
69 years ever since he first got on the field in the major leagues. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he would have played with Ruth and Gehrig and Mantle and all those guys.
Survived World War II. Storming of Normandy.
Mm-hmm.
Guy was a fucking machine.
Saw a lot of history.
Pretty amazing.
See, I do know baseball a bit. I don't know shit about run, tackle ball, though.
I like the run, tackle ball.
I don't know hand egg.
I like the run, tackle ball. I like it more than bounce, throw it net.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, fucking hate basketball.
I think that about does it for this evening's episode of the Godless Rebelution. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Thank you for joining us, X.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure.
Had a great fucking night. This has been a lot of fun.
A lot better than last week.
That was tough, man. It was 6 hours of
so
podcast.
Fucking long.
Is hard.
It was five hours of other people talking, and that's hard to get a personality out when you're.
But the thing is, if we would have started like at 11 a.m. on a Saturday or something or Sunday, it would have been totally doable because we would have
taken a break in
been
between.
done by 5 p.m. But doing it as late as we did on the middle of the week, and I don't know, it was tough. But we did it for you guys, so fucking.
And poor Forrest sticking it out as long as he did. Like, what a fucking trooper, man. Oh God.
Yeah. So we had Norm Macdonald and Christopher Walken last week.
If you have any questions, complaints, whines, rants, you can contact us at godlessrebelution@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at Godless Rebelution. Tweet us at TGR Podcast. Leave us a text message or call and leave us voicemail at 330-81-REBEL.
330-81-REBEL.
We've had a couple messages to the phone. We haven't had very many. We have gotten some emails though.
They'll play them as long as the episode doesn't get lost.
Yes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, that is true. Yeah. We've lost 2 episodes. Don Cheeto and
Jesus HIV Christ.
That was fucking brilliant.
I know,
I'm so sad we missed that.
That was too bad.
Next week we should have Ryan back with us. He'll be back on Saturday, I believe. He's out doing his EMT training stuff for work. So
sorry I won't be here.
Yeah. But he should be with us next week. We've got some exciting guests lined up for the future. I will announce them as I firm up plans with them, but I think you guys will be excited about some of the people we got coming on the show in the near future. Once again, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll catch you all next week.
Bye.
You're welcome.